Good morning, friends. Long time no see. Welcome to Sequester for a wonderful reunion from last night's mini. And it was another good one. I mean, we're getting down to the wire here. We're almost at Winners at War next week. So I feel like these ones are big stakes, and the cast brought it last night. Overall, a very good group. And as I said, as the whole group said last night, I believe one of the best winning games we have seen in quite a while. I mean, basically a flawless game, I think. And we'll talk more about that. But let's get right into it. Let's bring in our panel to start off. We have Brett, we have Robin, we have Jordan, we have Martha, we have Michael, Brady, Doc, JD, and the winner himself, Ethan. Congratulations, Ethan. How are we all doing?
Yes.
Doing great.
Tired.
Yes, I feel on that.
It was a lot. I mean, it always is a lot, especially if you're playing for the first time. I feel like it's the most experience. But I guess first things first, what were you all thinking when the game started after the videos? Did anything stick out to anyone in terms of what you were seeing when the videos were playing? Anybody you were familiar with, afraid of, happy to see?
Yeah, well, I saw Lauren. I was super excited of seeing Lauren because I love her and her gremlin mask. And JD, of course, because I know you from like Undercover. I seen you play and you got wheeled out, and I was disappointed by that. So I was glad to play with you in a game.
Yeah, well, I knew Lauren from a different Patron Mini, and I was actually in her starting room. So when I saw her, when pre-game when you entered the room, I was like, oh my god, Lauren's here. I've got one person to be on my side.
Yeah, Lauren was in our starting room, and she was the first one in. I was the second, and it took everything in me to not freak out when I saw her because I loved her in her past minis. So that was a really nice surprise. Ethan was also a very nice surprise. I had zero clue he was playing. I'm so glad we got to play together again.
Yeah, the same thing happened. CT was in my starting room and he popped up and I was like, what is going on? Because I know CT also, and so it was just nice to have that, and then also CJD and be like, oh, this is fun.
For me, I was pumped because I hadn't played in a long time, like 3.5 months probably. So I knew with how Sequester had been blowing up that not a lot of people might have seen me play because the first time I played was back in April. And I knew a bunch of people, but I didn't think I was that well known. And there was no one that I knew personally because the last two times that I played, there were either people that I had hosted in my org or I had played with in orgs and that knew me, and it was just an issue. So I was pumped, and then I just could not find my footing. But the cast was great, I think.
Absolutely.
I recognize. You're all good, Michael.
Oh, thanks, Brett. No, I feel like I jumped on this whole Sequester hype train 3 weeks ago. And so I'm digging through the minis and everything like that. And I think the only person I had seen before play was Robin. And so I'm coming in, I know none of these people. And then suddenly you're going through and you're like, what the devil? There's this and they know this and then that from here and here knows too. And this is this person's cousin. This person married this person in Iowa. The flip.
The two people I recognize right off the bat, I recognize Robin because Robin actually played in the game in 619 with my friend Chris. Shout outs to Chris, by the way, if he's watching.
Yes, Chris.
And then I also recognized, I knew of Jojo because I heard he had won a private mini. So I knew he was definitely on my radar from the start.
I want to say, when I first saw my video, I was like, oh my god, I came off as such a bitch. I was blinking my eyes, and I was like, hi guys, I'm Brady. Yeah. And I was like, people are gonna be so turned off by that. I was like, oh my god, I look horrible. My eyelash was falling off. I used the ugly Snapchat filter. It was horrific. I was like, this is first boot material. I'm done. So.
What was it, mustard ketchup queen or something that?
Yes. I don't even know where that came from. I had ketchup, I think a couple hours before, so I'm not sure if I was ketchup, but it was a hot mess express. It was absolutely not it.
There were some good videos last night, honestly, and it wasn't like sometimes we see videos with like really high production quality, and you're like, oh my god. But like I felt like the videos here, it wasn't so much that, but it was just people who did a good job of like kind of conveying who they were in 45 seconds. Like it wasn't anything fancy, but it was just people who were good talkers. Like Nehemiah, for example, is one of the best videos I've seen. It's just
Oh my
making
God.
yourself likable. He was just so likable in a short amount of time speaking to the camera. So I feel like that is very valuable.
He had
And
like
I
enough
think-
high energy that like it wasn't offsetting because you could tell he was like being genuine.
And I think what's like an important thing with the videos is like it's really easy to be like, I'm Ethan, I like dogs, and I'm here to play. And like you've only said one thing about yourself.
Yeah.
And like look at Nehemiah's video, for example. He had like 18 fun facts. Like anyone could relate to any of them. And he put out so much that if you're coming in and you're like, oh, this or that or this, there was just so much there. And I think like with the videos, you have an opportunity to not just say like one fact, but to say like a ton of things that people can try and relate to at some capacity. And I think there were a lot of people that did that where it's just like, this is my personality. These are a bunch of things. And I think that was good.
No, I hear that. I also think about like Doc's video and Stan's video and Emily's video also really stand out because of like the message period. They're coming through also talking about who they are and like why they want to play this game today. And so you even go in with this kind of like shield of protection for them almost about like, I want to take care of your narrative throughout this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was brought up too. I mean, it's always important to have a hook or have something that'll make you remember. Like I feel like one of the reasons Lauren is so beloved in this community, despite only playing like a few minis, is like she has a thing, right?
Yeah.
Like Lauren's playing,
exactly.
it's Lauren because she's gonna put on all of her masks and she's gonna have a puppet and it's gonna be a lot of fun. And I feel like if you have that and you just have something that makes you stand out from the group, it's so valuable. And I thought it was smart, and Stan will be on later. I want to ask him about that. Was that obviously it's a great message and it's a message that needs to be read, but was there any strategic thought in that? Because I thought it was a very strategic move to put that on and be like, hey, here's what I am. I'm going to wear it the entire game. Try to vote me off. Like, I feel like it is, a smart move to make anyway. But let's get right into it. So this twist, I'm still kind of on the fence about what I think about it. So essentially the first boot, as per usual, will save 6 people. However, now those 6 people will be nominated in the 3rd round. So in essence, I'm not sure. You probably
I just broke it, so it's okay.
I don't think you want to get safety here. I don't.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to get safety at all. I was like, whoever
No,
we
I was
vote
so
out,
happy
I
when I
don't want
didn't
the
get
safety.
Yeah,
I think safety is a bad thing in this scenario because like you have 22 people, and then if you're not safe, you have way lower odds of going home in that first round, and then you're automatically safe in round 3. So it's like, yeah, you're safe in round 2, but if you're not safe in that second round, then you only have like a 1 in like 14-ish chance at going. But if you're in the second, you have 1 in 7, not including like if any LOSs come up or anything.
I also think in terms of just like almost like who holds power in like certain relationships in this twist, if you are safe in the 3rd round or 2nd round, the 3rd round, you're relying on other people. But in the 2nd round, if you can make it through, then you can say, look, like, which was something that I tried to do, which is like, you saved me this round, I got your back next round. 3rd round, you prove that you've had that back. You're kind of have almost a little bit more control in like power dynamics, which helps you a lot. And so I think it was like, you kind of could get more footing if you were safe in the 3rd round because you could prove like, look, I stuck my neck out for you. There were less people and I did this. And that benefits you. Where in like the 2nd round, it's like, it's a crapshoot. There's like only a certain number of people that are safe, and like you're not really be able to stick out your neck for like 11 people in the same way that you can for like 3 or 4 in the 3rd round.
Yeah, and my thing was with that was obviously I didn't want to be safe because I didn't want my name to be out there the 3rd round because that just gives people an incentive to be like, oh, Robin's name's out there now because that's how it usually kind of goes. So I try to work in the 2nd round, whoever was safe, I try to work with them closely to be like, okay, who do y'all want out, kind of this round, and who do you guys want out next round if we could plan ahead?
Yeah, the
That was
first thing
kinda
I
my
said
strategy.
at the start of the 2nd round, I forgot who was in the room, was, okay, a couple of people here will be on the block next round. Give me a name for next round and I'll be sure to spread it. And that was like my mindset.
I think there was more strategizing for round 3 and round 2.
Yeah.
That's the other big issue with why you really don't want safety there, is that not only is the pool smaller of who you're nominated with, it also gives people a full round to target someone and be like, okay, next round we're going to go after this person. Yeah. Like, it's a big disadvantage. I'm curious, Brett, and we'll get to it because I want to talk about why you actually got voted out first, but I am also curious about your nominations. But let's discuss. I mean, I was talking to you a little bit about it before we went on air. I feel probably one of the most out of left field reasons to ever be voted out of Sequester. I'll let you introduce it as to what was the nail in your coffin here.
All right, so, I'm going around room to room. I don't hear anything going on. No one's saying they're hearing my name. Then all of a sudden I hear that I was actually put up by Alex because I had the same name as Alex's dad, and they did not have the best relationship. And that's why I got eliminated.
It was the name. It was the name. You cannot share a name with a parent.
That's all about
I know, that was sad.
Yeah, I said last night, usually first boot, don't talk about game theory in your video. Don't talk about poker in your video. Do not have bad internet. Have a camera that's good, but not too good, as we know now. If your camera is too good.
Or a good setup. Or a good
or if you have a good setup.
Make sure your
Can't
setup
have that.
like a normal human. You don't want to be pegged.
Don't have a fancy mic or anything.
No fancy mics. And also, do not have the name of a parent, someone in the game.
It's all my fault.
It's all your fault. Is there anything you felt like you could have done? What was kind of your experience in the one round you were in? Did you think that you were done early on, or did you think you had a shot during the round?
I personally thought it was kind of out of left field because, like I said, I was going around. I think I hit like 3 or 4 different rooms, and no one mentioned that they heard my name once. So I thought that was a little suspect because normally people mention if they hear you, right? And I thought I was giving off good vibes. I thought I was really having good conversations with people that I got to talk to. I thought I was pretty likable, but unfortunately I couldn't control my name. So that really came out of nowhere. I was really trying to push in the beginning both Emma, and before I actually met Brady, I tried to push Brady a little bit just based on the video. But then after we met, obviously I tried to push Emma instead. But I didn't really have much of a chance to show what I got, unfortunately.
No.
I think also, well, I think it's like our room also said Brett for like other arbitrary reasons of like he's flexible. I think that was just the extent of it. It's so hard in the beginning, but the hard part about this twist is like the minute that I heard our room said Brett, and then I heard Alex was also her room was going after Brett. I was like super incentivized to never be in a room with Brett because then he wouldn't save me. So it was like one of these twists where it's like, if your name goes out that first round, I felt like I was like, are people just going to run away from him because they don't want safety next round? Because you don't want to make this connection because he's going to save people he likes. So it's like hard to like, it was really hard to like not have your name get, the minute it was thrown around for you, Brett, I felt like it was just hard to get it back. Like, out and like put some out name. Like, I was like, Brett, cool. I'm gonna like if he's in a room, I'm leaving. Like I'm going somewhere else.
That happened to me. Like I was in a room. Like I'm not even kidding. I literally followed Brett into 3 different rooms just like accidentally. Like it was literally like boom, 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 and I was like fuck because like I knew that like I wanted to be nice because I'm known as like a pop off queen in like the Instagram fandom, so I kind of wanted to like just like be nicer to people and like show like maturity and like whatnot. So I followed him into the room and I was like, oh cool, like that's cool, like I hope I don't get picked. But it literally happened 3 times, and like I love Brett and like I'm so like we didn't get to play long obviously, but like I was like, dang it, because I knew that like we talked a decent amount, so I was like, I'm probably gonna get the safety.
Yeah, after I think I saw Brett one time in that round.
Once, I think, yeah.
Yeah, and after that, after I know his name was going around, I knew I did not want safety. I was like, avoid Brett at all costs. I was like, not trying to be in a room with you.
Yeah, I think we were in the room for like 30 seconds, and I was like, perfect.
Yeah.
I don't think I made that much of an impression on him, so...
Yeah.
That's
your,
what
the audience doesn't know this, so I just gotta fess it up. I mean, I was in a room with Brett. I started with Brett. I was going to work with Brett. I had great vibes with Brett. I went around to other rooms. Adrenaline's flowing. I forgot who Brett was, and I voted him next round. And I'm just like, and I didn't realize until he started saving me and everybody else in the room. I'm like, oh my god. I'm
No,
so
but
sorry.
I think that's real talk. Like, like I'm really excited for when someone releases like the 100-page PhD on how to play Sequester, because like I think there is something about like that Act 1 period about like, you really only have the video, who's in your room, and who you may know. And so you're totally going off based off gut instincts. So like when we're talking about things like the lighting is too good, who are you? You're sus. Or like, oh, that camera's a little shaky. You may be someone that I can like get through. Like, our little like fight or flights kick in. And so I think that becomes a really beautiful play within Act 1 about like how we, interpret certain people. And I do think that forgetting names, oh my gosh, like there's so many B's this round, or like whatever it was. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know. I just met you. Were you the Zelda fan? I can't remember. Like, let's just keep cycling.
It really is. Anything that you can latch onto is a reason to vote somebody off, and you just have to be the first to spread it, and you can take someone out.
Yeah, usually it's the videos for me, but the videos were, really good this time. So I was super confused on who to do it. But then when Alex threw out your name, Brett, I was like, sure, I'm down for it. Let's go.
Yeah, I totally get that. And I mean, I had no idea it was coming, obviously. Like I said, no one gave me a little tip. Hey, someone's trying to put your name out. Go save yourself. So, it kind of blindsided me.
Yeah, and I wanted to, but I was like, what if he takes that as we're good, and then he puts me as safety next round, so we ain't gonna have that.
I actually had a whole different strategy for how I nominated people. So
yeah,
I
so that's what I want. Yeah, that was the next thing I wanted to get to too. Is how were you thinking when you were doing the nominations after you were eliminated that you were helping people, or did you have it in your head that you were probably hindering them?
Well, here's my thought process. I knew for the people I saved, it was going to be tough for them to make it on past the third round rather. So my thought process was I didn't only like try and save people that I actually got along with and interacted with. I saved people that I thought had good enough connections to make it past the second block. So in a way, like I wasn't trying to screw anyone over. I was actually trying to put people up that I didn't think would go, or like had the least likely chance of going that second round. But obviously one of them had to go. So it was just unfortunate. Like I was trying to think a couple rounds ahead for them.
Makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I feel like, Brett, there wasn't a whole lot in this game you could have done. It was just really bad luck. Do you think? I mean, what will you play again? Are you planning on playing again in the future?
Oh, I'd love to play again. I definitely did get a lot of. I got a lot of messages on Twitter. I got some tweets of people saying they really enjoyed me in the beginning, so I really appreciated that. That was definitely really awesome. But,
also, I think there's gonna be a first Boots 2, a private mini, so you should sign up for that.
Totally.
Well, I definitely will. Thank you for the heads
got
up.
so unlucky.
It happens, and I don't hold it against anyone.
Sequester is also like, it's a like game of deception and skill, but it's also luck. Some people just get unlucky.
Like I knew if I made it past the first like 2 or 3 people, I would probably be able to start working a game. But in the first couple rounds, it's literally just whoever you find. So I don't blame anyone. It is what it is.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on, Brett. We're excited to see you play again.
Bye, Brett.
Pleasure seeing all you guys. Bye, guys.
Great meeting you.
Bye.
All right. So that brings us to round 2. So Brett gave safety in round 2 to Nehemiah, Doc, Rachel, Mike, Brady, CT, and Lauren. And this was the round that ended in Zach's elimination. I feel like this was mostly Emma was being mentioned again after being mentioned in round 1. Also, Jordan, this is when your name started to come out.
It came out in the first round too.
Yeah, I felt everything the first round.
Yeah.
Like little.
Yeah, and then but it ended up being Zach. What was everyone's thinking here? How did we get to the Zach elimination?
Yeah, so Zach was actually like, I think I was like maybe the first person to push Zach in like round 1. I think I came up with him like as like my room 1. So kind of bad about that, but and then we had just said Zach a few times, and I think people just had heard that Zach was in danger in round 1. So
Yeah,
that
was the situation with like Jordan. Like I really heard his name last round, so I was like, okay, we could push his name, and then I just keep hearing like Zach's name more, so I didn't want to push Zach because I liked his shirt because I'm a Gaga fan, and I was like, oh, I don't want my my fellow fanatic to go, but then his name just kept coming up. So I was just like, fine, I'll jump on the train and go Zach.
So I didn't vote Zach. Zach was in my starting room, and I thought our starting room was like actually pretty good. And like I think sticking with your starting rooms for the start of the game is like smart. Like you're not gonna not do that, you know. So I voted for Alex because I couldn't understand a word she was saying, and I was like, I mean, I think she's just gonna go.
I voted for Alex that round too.
Yeah, I voted for Alex just because I was just like,
I figured that you know, maybe her internet's going to go out. You know,
Yeah, I was surprised that Alex's internet stood on because that was the first thing I noticed in the room. I was like, tech issues.
Yeah, well, usually like if you have tech issues, like it's just an easy boot. Like, see ya.
Yeah, that's
so,
why
like
I
was like, all right, Alex is gonna go.
I was actually more playing the third round during the second round. I don't think I was playing the second round. I was playing the third round. I think I started in a room with you, Robin, and there were a couple of other people in there, and we lit on Brady. And then I went in another room. Robin, I think you were in that room too. Brady was in it, and we landed on CT. So I'm just like, oh no, one of these days it's going to land on me or something. I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, people were saying Brady a lot because her name was out the last round, but obviously I didn't want Brady to go because she was in my starting room, and I was like, people were saying it, and I would say it, but then, yeah, I had to push somebody else after another name came to me.
Yeah,
that round just felt weird because it was like you knew you were playing for round 3, so like round 2 was like, who cares what the name is? His name was the name last time, so if that's what we're doing, it's fine. But it felt like everyone was like, which I think showed like the strength of how hard people were playing in this cast, which was just like everyone was like, round 2 doesn't matter if his name is going out. Then like, let's just do that. We're all playing for round 3 at this point.
I had my first experience of just being in a room with, I was in a room with Zach. And I was like, oh, Zach, yeah, you should bounce around. Like, I've heard your name. Like, you should get out of here and like go. But I was like, oh my God, please don't ask me who was telling your name because it's me. Like,
See, like, and I'm actually in love with this, like this whole you have safety round 2, round 3. We have some worry for you because it also gives you the ability to plan 2 rounds. It gives you the ability, hey Jojo, it gives you the ability to really like go, okay, we can talk about this and we can talk about next because we know who's going to be on the block. So especially like if you don't feel like you're in any danger, like really using those rounds to like meet and build social so that you can also like plan forward. I love this whole
Can I personally say I hated it?
I didn't like it very much either.
I will say that I feel like this twist really does incentivize sort of, at least in the first half of it, just throwing out a name that's already been out there from the first round. Because I feel like almost all of us were more focused on what was going on in the second half of the twist. And I feel like a lot between rounds 2 and 3, there was a lot more strategizing around round 3. So I feel like that didn't really
agree.
I think it also
a lot of people were like, I'll save you this round if you save me next round. And it was a lot of just like, I'll save you, but you have to save me. Because like that was it was like, I think it was like Zach, Alex, and me were like the big 3 names that were like going around, and everyone was like, go. And like everywhere I went, someone was like, I'll save you, but like you have to save me next round. And I was like, okay, like I don't have to tell me twice.
It was so much like piggybacking off of what was like the last name that was being said. I agree with you, Michael. It like really incentivized, like to me, I was like, I can use rounds 2 and 3 to build all the social connections I want because my name's not out there. No one's throwing out new names. They're just going with whatever was in round 1. So I'm going to use these 2 rounds to say, hey, look, you're cool. I like you. And so I think this twist is like
this round, Ethan.
I think I meant you, Doc. My heart.
It's okay.
Ethan, your loyalty, we'll get to that. Ethan, your loyalty to Doc, though, was one of my favorite things in the mini. How many times you shot his name down when people were trying to go for him?
We didn't get to Doc's elimination because I did not want it to happen. I actually was like, Doc is my favorite person here. Let's go. This is amazing. I was so in, and then he made a cardinal roll that I had, or just committed a bad. It was not a great game move, and I was like, I've seen this happen.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
It's not happening.
But I will say, I think with the round 2, and what all of you said is right. Like there's no incentive for the people who are going to be nominated in round 3 to talk about round 2 at all, right? Like you immediately have to bypass that, go with whatever name, and just start focusing on yourself. So. it'll be interesting to see, if we continue to do that twist, kind of how it progresses and how people go about actually strategizing for it. But so at the end of round 2, Zach was eliminated, and that brought us to round 3.
Sadness.
So Nehemiah, Doc, Rachel, Mike, Brady, CT, and Lauren were up for elimination. And Brady ended up going home after a successful LOS that at the time we thought was by Mike Brown. It was not by Mike Brown. By your one and only Jordan. Let's get right into it. This is one of the main things I wanted to know, and I know, Jordan, you want to talk about it. So what was your thinking there using the LOS on him?
So I thought Mike was in good, and I thought he was only getting like his name thrown out because of the people he was with that round. Because like every time I had seen Mike, like we had been really genuine, like we had good talks. So I just assumed Mike was in good, and he was like in a shit spot. And I knew Brady was the other round or name out there, and I hadn't gotten a like really good vibe from Brady, and I thought Brady was lying about never playing before because I had like seen Brady's in the other games.
No,
but I was like, if I can successfully, because I thought the next round was going to be room roulette because Audrey usually does that pretty early. So I was like, if I can LOS Mike, like get to the next round, and then I can be safe the next round, like I can build up more LOSs because I had like a really good setup for like getting LOSs, I thought. And fucking Audrey like only put 1 LOS in the first 4 rounds. So I was like, if I save Mike and I can get to Mike and be like, yo, I saved you, because what I was going to do is I was going to get into a room and be like, Mike, I need to fucking talk to you, and try to get everyone to leave. Like pretend I was mad at Mike so I could be like, yo, I LOS'd you, because I like if I could get to him, I knew he would be like basically indebted to me for the rest of the game. And I had a better connection with Mike than I did Brady. And I knew like with my name being out there, I need people in the game who are going to save me. Then the fucker voted me the next round. But like, so,
I mean, I did save you.
True. But like it's also like why play boring? Like I played like really loud and over the top the first 2 times I played, and like once I got 5th, once I got 18th. So I was like, I'm just trying to play different and give people a fun show, because this is obviously like a game for the fans. So I was like, it would be really unexpected if everyone thinks Mike LOS'd himself, but then it was just me being fucking stupid.
We were all on the panel being like, why is he lying? No one's going to believe that anyone's playing an LOS on him this early.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I was like, after I heard that LOS play and Mike stayed, I was like, Mike played the LOS. He's dangerous. We got to get him out. Because I would be like, that was kind of like a stupid move to do very early on.
No, it was fucking dumb.
So I wouldn't think anybody would play an LOS on him. So
I just thought I thought Audrey was going to throw up another LOS the next round. I thought it was going to be a different round where like only a few people were going to be in danger. So like I thought I would have more time to get integrated, and then like things went to shit the next round.
Also, it just made Mike look shadier. Like he came into my room, like, I didn't play an LOS.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're a liar.
Oh, and Lauren was like, he has a BA in theater. We don't need to like. We don't need to go there.
Yeah,
Can I just say,
I just wanted to
like,
make it fun.
I'm sorry, Brady. I did vote for you that round. Mike was in my starting room, and I'd already lost Brett for some. And I was like, oh no, people are targeting people in my starting room. And Rachel was available too. I'm just like, oh my God, my room.
We didn't talk as much though. So like, I get it. Like there's like, it's no hard feelings. Like I was like, so I heard my name was going around like a lot at first. So then I was like bouncing because people were like, you need to bounce like a bunny. Like you need to go. So I was like walking around in other rooms and people are like, yeah, I heard your name at first, but now it's going to Mike. And I was like, I'm such a social queen. Like I was just walking around and I was just so proud of myself. I'm like, nobody's doing the game quite like me. Like I'm a social, like, I'm a social party. Like
Brady, you almost got me to throw my vote on somebody
got
else.
the votes off of herself twice when like it was like started around like Brady's done. So I was like, okay, Brady's like really fucking good.
Yeah,
I was like so excited. I was like,
because you said I want to play too, and I'm just like, because I felt bad because Mike had gotten voted out early in the one round here. You're like, I want to play too. I'm like,
also, Robin, you really did a good job deflecting off of Brady, because I got into a room and I was like, I'm only hearing Brady, and you were like, I'm not doing it. We're not doing it. We're doing Mike. I was like, cool. Okay, we're doing Mike.
The thing was like, well, everybody was in round 2. People were coming at me with Brady's name, and obviously I didn't want to do that, but I had to let tell people like, yeah, I'll do Brady. Obviously, the next round I was gonna like switch it up, but I didn't know who I was gonna vote. Rachel was kind of the one that told me Brady's name, so I was suspicious of like Rachel. But then she came at me and was like, "I was in emo night," and we had kind of like that connection, even though I didn't play that game. Even so, I was like, okay,
first boot of
yeah,
emo mini.
yeah. And if y'all didn't notice, that's the video from emo night I reused for this last night. But that's after she told me, I was like, okay, I can't do Rachel. I can't do Lauren, of course. I didn't want Eric to go. So, and Brady, obviously. So I was like, okay, it's either Mike or Neem, and I couldn't do that. So I was like, okay, Mike gotta go here. And some people brought me his name too. So I was like, oh, perfect. So people are actually saying his name. I could push it.
I'd recognize Brady from the Facebook community because I know that Brady posted about wanting to play, wanting to turn 18. She was really excited. So as soon as I saw Brady, I thought, awesome, someone that's here to play, that wants to play, that might recognize me from the other night, wasn't sure. So I definitely didn't want Brady to go. And that snatch?
Yeah.
Kill me.
I was going to say, Brady, I was in a room with you when you were eliminated, and that whole wig stand.
Incredible.
I think it was 3 and Brady.
It's so good.
Thank you. I had
gotta
like
watch
an
it,
absolute blast, like playing. Like honestly, like it was so fun. Like I was so proud of myself. I'm like, I'm gonna be the Parvati of like Sequester. Like I'm absolutely gonna win this game. Like no doubt in my mind. And then it was like an LOS was played successfully, and I was like, oh my god, yes, I'm going home. Like woo, let's do it. But no, I was so upset. And I stomped upstairs. I was like, Mom, I just got LOS out, and she was like, what? She's like, what? Like, because like I had to do like my mom's like I'm in high school. Like I'm a senior. But my mom is literally like, she's like, you have to, if you're going to stay up at 1 p.m., you're going to have to do yard work for me all day. And I was like, okay, cool, Mom. So I did yard work all day to help my mom. And then I was third boot and I was done at 9 p.m. And she's like, why are you here? And I was like, I got eliminated. She's like, seriously? I was like, I'm sorry, Mom.
I regret it now. Like I should have just let Mike go.
Yeah, I didn't vote.
It is what it is.
Sad when you were voted out.
Yeah.
I thought that, the fact that you had been waiting to turn 18 to play, like, I feel like that was, it endeared people to you. I feel like for sure. I think people wanted to work with you because of that. And I think you had legs in the game, but obviously there's only so much you can do when an LOS is used. Like, and we'll see that later on in a couple of instances, whereas people who I thought were going very deep into the game did not go very deep into the game because of an LOS. But Brady, obviously, it was short-lived, but I imagine this is not going to be the last we see of you in the Sequester world.
I'll bring new wigs too. I was had wig changes throughout the series just so I could give people some looks. Like I changed my wig like in the waiting room because I was like, and everyone was like, but I had so much fun. You guys are absolutely like amazing. Like no hard feelings. I plan on second boot, so third boot's great. But love you guys.
Ketchup and mustard for life. Condiment queen.
You know it. Bye, guys.
Amazing.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. So that brought us to round 4, which was so we brought back even odds, which we hadn't seen in quite a while. I feel like we haven't seen even odds in at least a couple of months. But this time it was a double boot, which I feel like whenever I played even odds in the early days, I was always like, well, this seems like it'll be a double boot, like vote out one from each side. Like that just makes more sense. But this is the first time it's happened. So it was 12 people on even, 7 people on odd. And this ended up being the LOSE and the LOSer both going home.
Like a Romeo and Juliet.
And Jordan, truly. Y'all for the best friends mini. Clearly, we need to have that happen. Best friends private.
He voted me.
He
literally voted me out.
Rivals mini. Switch that. Rivals mini. How did we get here? How was everybody voting? What were we all thinking?
Yeah, well, with this round, like, because I've seen it a bunch of times, I know majority of people always choose even. So that was my plan going in. And plus, my favorite number is 6. So that's what I chose. And I was lucky to be on the majority there. And I saw Mike was the odd person in odds, and they were like the minority. So I was like, great, Mike doesn't have an LOS anymore. Let's go. Let's get him out.
It was really easy because it was like the two names that were left over were yours, Jordan, and Mike. And they were on different sides. And I was with like 3 evens and 2 odds. And we were like, cool, all the evens went this way, all the odds went this way.
Yeah.
Get rid of the name.
I mean, the thing that made me pissed was like I thought I was in good with a lot of the odds. Like Stan for one wasn't odd, and I thought I was in good with Stan, so I was like, "There's one vote there." Like I thought I was in good with Mike. Like I just didn't think like there was a way that like it was gonna be me. And then every odd I asked, I was like, "What's the name going out?" They were like, "Oh well, we've kind of heard you, we've kind of heard Robin," and I'm just like, "What the fuck?" Like, why is my name out?
Who said me?
That was me.
Shady.
I'm sorry, Robin.
Yeah,
Ethan
I heard about
mentioned
you
your
being
name.
very shady.
Yeah, that was the round I started pushing you because I was like, "How are we gonna like?" I was like, "Robin's obviously."
Even though we would have went far, Ethan,
I
because you
know.
know I'm a close friend with Ian. But,
He
you
had
know.
me on board with that move.
I know.
He needed it, and I was like, because I knew after the Brady that with everything that happened with Brady and how Brady got shot down, I knew Robin. I thought Robin did this.
Yeah.
I was in a room with Robin when we mentioned Brady, and all of a sudden it's changing to Mike, and I'm like, oh, Robin, I know Robin did this, and I was like,
it was because of that. Yeah, I like knew
Robin,
that
you put the fear. I didn't even vote for you that round. There's no way. I was like, I'm not going to do the first person. No.
Yeah, I felt pretty safe because, like, even though maybe Ethan was pushing my name, I still felt like if Jojo heard my name, you know, you would let me know, and if like Lauren heard my name or Stan, you know, so I felt like protected amongst people. So I mean, JD, I thought I would have had him, but obviously you guys are closer, so he would have probably pushed me there.
That was the thing though, Robin, is like I kept pushing you, and then it was like not getting any traction. People were like, I don't want to do this yet. I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen. And so it was not gaining any traction. And
I'm thinking in the back of my head, this is what you keep complaining about every time returning players come on this thing, and the newbies just won't vote them out. Here you are.
And then is the returning players going after each other.
Yeah, I know. You're
shade.
But no, the newbies are too afraid. And I'm thinking, this is the same thing I am. And it works in theory. Oh, go after the people. In practice, it just doesn't work. You're just like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah. It was a tough round because it's like you're trying to find the people in your group to figure out what the vote is, but then it's like you also need to find people from the other group to make sure they're not voting you because they can only vote you. And it's like this weird balancing act of like how much time can you spend figuring out the vote and how much time do you spend running around trying to make sure it's not you.
And I think Rob, but I think also like one last thing we can go back to this is what I started to recognize was that like what was really cool about this cast is people weren't, I don't feel like we're really playing round to round. They were playing like big picture. Who are the people that myself and what are like the groups? And I saw people popping up near you who were different than the people that were popping up near me. And I was like, if I can push her name first, it's eventually going to come to heads at some point. And so I wanted to be able to like preemptively do that because it felt like it was like
it was definitely a very strategic cast, like more so like usually in a cast there's at least a couple of people who are kind of lost and don't know exactly what they're doing. I feel like basically this group as a whole all came in knowing the rounds, aside from maybe Don. The rounds, and everybody kind of had an idea of how to play the game, which I think definitely added to a more interesting experience to watch because, as we'll get into, we lost a lot of big players pretty early, and then there was like a whole nother like renaissance of players like from jury on that kind of took over, which was interesting.
No, I really think Ethan's point and your Louie's point too. There was something about this particular cast that really wanted to dive social. So when even odds passed up, especially knowing it was a double boot, I think people were more willing to go, what's a name that's already been up? Good, done, fine. I need to spend the rest of this time building my social capital. So I think everyone was really thinking about time management throughout this entire game.
It was like gathering troops almost in a sense.
Yes.
Like waiting for that to happen. And that's kind of what I felt like every round was just like, there are like 4 or 5 like names that just keep coming up. We'll do that. But everyone is kind of like gathering their troops and waiting for momentum to build. And then the wheel happened and that like kind of shut that momentum down. So
I had to stop defending Mike here because I actually heard, well, it's Mike or you. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
There goes Mike. There goes my last room guy.
Yeah, it was good. Like, obviously there was like odds gonna vote an even, and I really felt safe with those that were odd. So I used that time to like really just build those social bonds with people. Because I knew I would probably be a big target. So I was like, let me do it more social. Because I don't usually do that in many games, like be very sociable with people or get to know people. I'm kind of like, what are we doing? Let's go. So it was good to like just relax and get to know people.
Yeah,
I felt
definitely
pretty
want
relaxed in that round. Like a lot of people probably felt pretty relaxed that it wasn't them because unfortunately
Yeah.
the names were obvious. So it's just a case of like meeting new people.
And I feel like everyone kind of has the same story with like that round and the round that had happened prior, which is like I feel like most of my like connections and final twos I was making happened in that round because names were already out there, and it was like within 30 seconds it was like, oh, this is like we know what's happening, and then it was like I could get into rooms with people that I wanted to.
Yeah, I think the thing that like fucked me over was like my name had been out every single round, but like people had been coming to me every round being like, hey, I've heard your name, but I'm not voting you. So I was like, maybe it'll just drift off. But like, I think what sucked was like me and Mike ended up on different sides. And I think because I originally was going to submit an odd and then I switched to an even. And if I had submitted the odd, it would have been me and Mike on the same team. And I think Mike probably would have went. But like I switched it last second because I'm used to like the evens getting like a vote block or like something. It's like evens generally get something good. So I switched at the last second and like there was just like no coming back from it. Unfortunately,
I was one of the ones that kept on telling you, Jordan, that your name was coming up.
And there was an LOS in the round that I could snag or anything, and I was like, well, like I'm done.
Jordan, I mean, I was very happy to see you were on the cast because it's been quite a while since you have played and had the opportunity. And you're always fun to watch. I mean, are you going to take another long break, or do you think that there's a?
So for me, it's like my work schedule because like now I'm working full time and going to grad school. So it's like my weekends are very up in the air. Like if I have to go out recruiting or if we're working or like working like our women's games. So it's like very up in the air. That's why like the timing for this one just like worked really well. Like a bunch of my friends are like, just apply next week and like make your intro video about how you LOS someone and then got out the next round. Then, like I would love to play again, but it's like all the private minis are during the week and it's like I have my grad classes and I'm working, so I can't play anything during the week usually. So it's like I'm just kind of like up in the air waiting for like another weekend that opens. Like I would love to play again, but yeah.
Patron or nothing. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's it. I can't get any of the private minis and I don't know why. But it is what it is.
Thank you for coming on. We appreciate it.
Of course.
Love you, Jordan.
Have a great day.
All right, so that brought us to round 5, which was the highest even number vote round. This round ended in a tie between Emma and CT and resulted in Emma's elimination. How did we get here? How did this vote? Because Emma and CT's name weren't really out there all that much previous to this, and they kind of took a charge as this round began.
So I was in the group of 4 that voted Emma.
Emma with me.
With you and Emily.
CT and Emily. The 4 of us.
Yeah, I was in a 4 that voted CT. I think it was me, Rachel, Josh, and I forgot who the other person was.
I voted CT.
Were you in our group?
I think I was.
I was in a room that was going to vote Rachel, and I threw my vote because Rachel was the last person from my first room, and there was no way I was going to vote for her. And I think Jojo, you were in there with me, and I'm sorry, and JD, you were in there, and I think you heard my hesitation.
Yeah.
I really don't want to vote for Rachel. I'm like, I telegraphed myself too much. You guys should have just known this guy ain't voting for Rachel. Actually, this was the first of 3 times I voted for myself in this game. This was the first one because I figured if somebody's got a group of 4, I'm throwing it off. Because
we can touch on it now. The inner
not on
struggle.
myself.
The inner struggle of Doc to vote for anyone was one of my favorite story arcs of the entire night, and how pained you were to put a vote on someone. It was so pure. I didn't know, how you found Sequester or what you thought you were getting into, but it was the most pure experience watching you go from room to room saying you didn't want to vote for anyone. And apparently you didn't, because you just voted for yourself.
Oh my God. Aw.
The pure soul.
Yeah.
Someone
I think
tweeted. I'm like super fresh on Twitter, but like someone was like, "Doc is too pure for Sequester." Or
I
something.
think Louie
that was
said
me.
that about me. I
That was
Oh,
me.
it was you? Or I don't even know who it was, but
It was
it was you. I just followed you, Louie.
Oh, thank you.
I'm
We
still
love it. We
super
love
lost.
to follow.
Super
Well, so
lost in
we could
Sequester.
comment on the Twitter thing. We love when people get on Twitter. Ethan, as of last night, did not have a Twitter, and I was like, Ian, get him to make a Twitter now because you can't be in the Sequester community without a Twitter. It's not possible. So thank you for all of you for getting on board.
Yeah, and I had it muted on my phone because I don't want to blow up at work. And then I unmuted it finally, and ding, 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 ding. I'm like, oh god.
Yeah.
Dr. Stan, you're actually doing like real things that we probably shouldn't bother you with, like group chat.
No,
Yeah.
but Sequester's
You probably have other
It's
concerns.
an amazing, like, opportunity to play, and like we'll talk about it when it's my time. But y'all could continue.
Yeah. So how did we?
So I think this might have been the round where Lauren introduced us.
Yeah, I think this was the round where I was so a little bit of me. I played Mini and 7-Eleven, and I had not a horrible experience, but I didn't even get a chance to
7-Eleven.
play. Lauren was actually in my starting room in 7-Eleven. I was second boot because there was a tether twist, and apparently someone said, "Oh, I mentioned something about Tony Wentworth in my video, like dragging Karishma or something like that." In the only Sequester I ever watched, and Karishma is a good friend of mine in real life. And I was like,
Oh my gosh.
like Wentworth dragging Karishma, blah blah blah. And I guess KP didn't like it, put me up in tether with Pume. And he was a big target. So I literally went home without my name ever being dragged just because I was next to a big target. So I never had a chance to play Sequester in 7-Eleven. But Lauren and I were talking because we're both from Canada and we were in the same room, and she was the only person. And so when she saw my name was there and she got us in a room together, she's like, "Stan, I trust Martha." And you were shocked. You're like, "Why is she blowing
God,
up
I was
my
like,
spot with
Lauren,
this
why are you
random?"
saying that we know each other? Don't say this.
Lauren's like my only other friend in Sequester until tonight, until last night. But like, I was shocked to see her. I wanted to work with her, but I never got a chance. So that was the time where she kind of introduced the three of us, and I would have stuck with you guys for like. And actually, I was the reason why Lauren played her LOS and me going home.
Wow.
Because I mouthed, "You're going home," in the room as it was muted, vote Rachel. And then she played her LOS. Namaya played his LOS on Rachel. He threw one vote at me and I was done.
Crazy.
We'll get to that. Let's get to that.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
that was one of the weirdest
That was a
votes I've
crazy.
seen in quite a while. But yeah, so this round ended in Emma's elimination after the tie. Any further thoughts on that round, or should we?
Oh, I want to say
Yep.
I did on the revote. I did vote Emma,
Me too.
and I probably caused that for her to go.
Does anybody know how that vote went? Because it really doesn't matter who you vote for that round. And I kind of went into teacher mode in my room, but I'm sorry, I do that. It's part of my thing. I'll go into teacher mode. It got me out, by the way, just to let you know. So I did this. And I was trying to explain. I said, look, it doesn't really matter who we vote for. It's whoever gets an odd and whoever gets an even because there's 17 people. So you could get like 15 votes on somebody, but the 2 goes home. And I'm just like, or maybe.
It's always a coin flip.
Yes, so it really didn't matter. And we just like, what's a crapshoot? We'll just vote and see what happens, and just.
Yeah, and actually that round, I always counted. There were 17 people, and like there's 2 people on the block, so I'm like, there's no point. There's gonna be someone getting an even and someone getting an odd.
We didn't even move that round. We're just like.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty
voting.
clear that Emma was going to get the most votes, but there was really, I mean, I always say when you're in that position and that goes to a tie, you're better off just like staying in a room and just trying to build bonds, because there's no way you can control that many people and make sure that it's even or odd. So you really just have to cross your fingers. But I think in that case, Emma definitely had more votes than CT, and it ended up being even. So yeah. And then this brought us to round 6. Now, Robin, I want to touch on your game. I was excited as always to see that you were there. Did not expect that. I was shocked yet again, trying to get on that leaderboard at the last minute. And I was,
you know me, Louie.
You know, you got to get on it. You're gonna get there. You're gonna get there. I was
I
concerned
was like,
at
this
first.
is like my last chance.
It was. It made me think like, why didn't I try then? We could have tried together. But I was concerned
Louie,
at
I
first
wouldn't have cut you at the end again, never.
But you were in
Brooklyn.
a good spot. You were in a good spot. I was concerned at first. I was like, big target. Everybody's gonna go for you. But then nobody. I mean, there was some talk of you, but like nobody really gunned for you early on, and I felt like you had built relationships that you were in for it for probably another game or at least a long time.
Yeah, one of the reasons I did sign up for this weekend is because shout out to the showdown. I'm playing on Tuesday, 5-8 versus 6-19. And I've been in these games lately where I kind of know a lot of people. So I'm like always have a barrier of people around me. So I wanted to sign up for a fresh meet where I didn't think I would know as much people, and I wanted to see how that would go, and it was really going well. Unfortunately, I did screw myself there, but I did want to make it dramatic, and I'm always like a risk taker, so I was like, I'm gonna stay in this room and see what happens, and that bitch the wheel got my ass. So it's on site when I see you, wheel, but at least you know you didn't come for JD last night, so I appreciate it.
I feel like our whole room's like mouths went.
Yeah.
Like when we heard that.
I figured.
Because Robin, I figured when I left, you would have left as well.
Yeah, I waited there for a little to see if anybody would come, and then I was like, well, sometimes room 3 it's rumored. I guess that rumor is dead now. That it's like room 3 is like always safe and da da da. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna stay in here. I know it's a risk being by myself, and I was even talking by myself in the room. I was like, if I make it through this, it'll be hella iconic, and if I don't, it's gonna be really tragic. So I took that risk.
Too, by the way, just to let you know.
Yeah, thanks. I did take that risk, but like seeing how the end game was, and like Ethan and JD kind of like dominating like that end, I was like, I wouldn't have had a chance there. They would have came for me then, so that crown would have been a loss anyway. So at least I went to buy a wheel and be a Rob queen.
And I don't know, Robin, if you saw like the wheel situation, but it may make you feel better. Is that the only thing you really could have done is left before JD, because once JD left, every single room was full. You couldn't have gone anywhere other than another empty room, because 4 was empty too. So really you had no shot. The only thing you could have done, because the rooms filled up so quickly, was leave before JD did and get in that last spot. So
yeah, I was gonna say, like, I was in a room of 5 when that round started, and not a single person tried to join the room.
And I figured that also because
like,
nobody was coming in room 3. I was like, well, the rooms are probably already full if no one's coming in here.
Next time
we were stuck in a room with Doc, Ethan, me, Lauren, and I believe Emily, and then we had 4, and we were like, all right, let's just wait for a 5th person. So in case we get like the safety, whatever, I don't even know what it's called, but if we not get the safety, whatever, and we have to vote someone out, then we'll vote for the person that just walked
That was
in.
Ethan that said that.
Yeah, that was the same for room 2.
In the room.
Yeah, and I was like, also at that point with our room, I was like, okay, someone's gonna come in, we'll vote for them. If no one comes in, I was like, I feel good with you, Stan. I feel good with you, Doc. We'll just vote on Emily.
Mm-hmm.
So
and I felt bad for poor Josh when he got in there, and I was hoping the room would be safe, so I wouldn't have to.
I also think that like this round, like strategically, it's a beautiful time to strategize, because rarely do you get like just like locked in a room with people and you just got time. And so if you're able to like get
so much time.
Yes.
Yeah,
I know.
I was like, what is
Glitch
happening?
Central. Yeah. And you're just like, but it's just a beautiful place to be like, hey, we're here. Either I've invested time with you or I haven't. Let's talk about let's talk about a future round. Who's someone that you want to target later going on, and start planning for the future.
And it's like built-in allies.
Yes.
Yeah.
So change to that twist is have the monitors see who's in the room and force everybody to change rooms, to go somewhere else. At least you cannot end up in the same room you started in, because what's going on is every time this happens, there's a full, they just stay. And that's what we did. I mean, I know that's what I did. And I was like, I kind of felt bad about that, but I'm like, well, that's the rules. But if they change it somehow that you have to change your room, that would make it better, because it really would be roulette. People would all have to move around, and then it would be more of a crapshoot, like, which is what I think the original intent of
Yeah.
the roulette is.
But to
I
push
feel like
back on that,
in the early days when I started playing, correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but I think when I started playing, room roulette would happen, but there was no time to change. Like whatever room you were in at the start of room roulette would be the room that you went to the wheel on. There was no like 30-second period to bounce, which I felt like, I mean, it screwed some people for sure, but it definitely made it more random.
I also think if that's the case, Doc, I would have just said like, okay, let's all go to room 2. We're in room 1.
That would work too, but at least somebody has to do something, and then somebody else might beat us to it because we have to leave our room and then go into the other one. So you see what I mean? So somebody else might have gotten in that mix there because somebody else might have strategized, let's go to room 2. I'm just,
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah, I think this was just really unlucky that like basically every room was full or almost full when the bounce started. So it's just, I think it's really unlucky for both Robin and JD.
I was worried for JD the entire round. And then he popped into room 2. I'm like, no, JD's number 5. 4 of us decided we're gonna take a number 5. Grab my glasses. I'm like trying to warn JD. Strategy was still there. Yeah. So I was concerned for you at that round, regardless, because I'm a big JD fan.
Oh, thank
and
you.
When I first popped into room 1 and saw JD and Lauren, I'm like, oh my god, masks, glasses, ready for this, perfect. So I was concerned for you, but I was also in a room with CT and Rachel, whose names were just out there, so I figured we could push that. And I think Michael, you were in my room too, right?
Yeah.
For room roulette, yeah. So I was like, okay, we're solid. The 3 of us can do this.
Yeah.
No, it's true too. Like, you know, when you in your room too, and you're like about your move, you kind of weigh options too. You're like, okay, I feel good that like I think I have protection in this. If I'm on the block, I have protection in this room, and I'm also like, I feel the votes are going to go towards you, or I can push you. So when you feel comfortable, you're like, I think I have a narrative that I can go with.
Absolutely. So Robin, we were sad to see. I feel like you are the queen of the Sequester bucket list at this point. Like you're checking off every major event. That
I mean, and that was one of the reasons I did stay there too. I'm like, well, if I got wheeled out, at least I could, check that off. Like I've been wheeled out.
It's only happened to a handful of people, so you can be added to the list.
I'm in that club now. Yeah,
you're in the club, and also you're in the club of one of the most talked about.
And I didn't do my video for Tuesday, so I have a video now.
There you go. That's perfect. Yeah, I'm very excited for Tuesday. Tuesday is going to be an event.
Yeah, it's
so,
gonna be epic, y'all.
Yeah,
watch it.
We will all be tuning in. The Twitter, as always, that everyone sees on a regular.
I love you all.
You get to be Willem. You get to be Shangela. You get to be Dayla. Yes.
Love you guys. Bye.
Love you, Robin. Bye.
Okay, so we'll bring in the next round, but we will also have another guest. Nehemiah, welcome.
Hey, everyone.
Well, now that you're here, let's talk. We started talking about you early when we first started, but we were saying, I feel like you are the case of how to make a great video and just get people to like you right off the bat. Like I said, as soon as I saw it, I said, Nehemiah's going to win. Like the energy and the spirit that you had just in the video. And then as those early rounds came on, I feel like won just about every single person in the cast over.
Yeah. When I tell you, that was the third take of my video because like I told people, I don't know who was in one of the early rooms. I made 4 videos for Sequester and they all got denied like 4 different times. So I was just like, I need to make a video. How do I make a video? My friend was like, you have to be very chaotic and crazy and stupid and she'll take you. So I was like, okay. I made one. They were like, no, that's boring. Do something stupid. Okay. I made another one. No, that's boring. So I guess she liked that one. Everybody else liked it too. So I was like, okay.
That was my theory, is that maybe Nehemiah is actually really serious and it's all elaborate ruse. It's an elaborate act.
No, but I'm a very chaotic person. I just don't like to show my cuckoo side.
Good thing. So let's get into round 7 here. So this round was the second highest number of, we have another guest. I was going to wait and explain the round, but we just have to go with it because she's my favorite. Welcome, Lauren. Hello, Lauren.
Hello.
Yes.
Oh my God.
We love the entrance.
Hello. Can you?
Uh-oh.
Nope.
Oh, no, I don't know.
The
if
power
her
of the
connection's
mask.
gonna be that good.
Come back, Lauren.
Shoulder back. All right, so round 7 was the second highest number of votes. This was the round that ended in Michael's elimination. So let's talk a little bit about how we got there and how.
I would love to talk about this.
JD
Louie.
got to take credit for that, mister.
Well, it's also like, so I remember in that moment, I was going like, okay, Rachel's on, it's going down. All right, goodbye, girl. And then I was like, my next is like, boom. And then like Audrey's like speaking over and I'm like, okay, something done happened somewhere. So it's also like, and also like, you know, the little bit of karma, it's like, I like love everybody and I'm like good game to all. And like the little bit of karma, I just wish is like your coupon doesn't work. Or like the little karma I wish is that like, you know, gas is like 2 cents higher than you expected. So like everything like that. But yeah, it's like, I was just curious like how it all came to be.
Yeah, I was
I had
shocked.
early.
We can all say Jojo and JD's here too, but basically, as soon as round 6 ended and Robin left, all 5 of us that was in room 2, we had decided to make a 5-pact. And we said, okay, why don't we just agree on a random name that no one has ever said, and then go and tell someone Doc.
Yeah, Doc was the name we were
like, let's just go tell everybody else to vote for Doc, and then we just secretly vote for Michael and don't say anything.
Yeah, because at that point, Doc's name was out there for like forever.
Yeah. So then we went to Doc. I literally, when I left the room, I went to Doc. Like Doc was in the room. And we were like, everybody's voting for you, Doc. Doc was like, you know what? Why don't y'all vote for me? He was like, cool. I left the room. I was like, Doc wants to vote for him.
I was in that room with you, Doc, and I was like, you were like, someone was like, oh, Doc, your name's getting pushed around. And I was like, I will not do that. I was sick of my laurels. And then
push it.
the Doc was like, wait, actually push me. And I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't understand.
I know.
I mean, I pushed Doc and I voted Doc.
I have to vote for myself, and it worked.
It did. Like, sorry, Michael, but that was. And
oh
Jojo,
no, I love stuff like that. It's one of the reasons why I think this game is like fantastic. I did not. I voted for Rachel.
Oh.
I had been in a room before where like we were kind of pulling the same strat. We were like, okay, Rachel's name's got some traction. And I think we were just like, just push two and go. And Doc, we heard your name. So then there was we knew there was traction that way. So then we just kept pushing Rachel. And then we just thought, okay, it'll be one of the two, boom, bada bing.
Yeah, Doc, did you roll a dice? And it landed on
That's when I rolled the dice. That's when I rolled it. JD was like, give me a name. I'm like, I don't know. And so I had this dice. I'm like, let me roll it. And it came up Alex, but Alex was in the room with us. I'm like, well, that's not going to work. She's right there. I can't target her. I don't want to target anybody. I want votes. Vote for me. Come on. You know,
I think that's
such a weird dice that has Alex's name on it. That's so strange.
No. I have a 20-sided dice because there's like 20 people in Sequester. It's one of these D&D dice.
That's so great. I love it.
So the first number that came up with 14 that ended up being kind of like when I trying to count the people that were there. Alex was the closest one to them, and then I counted 4, and you're kind of on the top row there, and I thought, okay, that.
I know, because I hear Alex came and told me, and I was like, a dice? What the hell?
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's a D&D dice.
Really?
Such a geek.
Nobody said my game. Nobody said my name all game so far, and it's a dice. It's like, sort me up.
It's like the first time anyone's ever gone out on a nat 20.
So
at least I didn't roll a 1. That would have been me.
Michael, is there anything else you thought you could have done? I loved your video, by the way. We didn't touch on your video.
Oh, thanks, man.
Trader Joe sponsored. We appreciate. Is there anything else you thought you could have done here to avoid it being you, or do you think it was just kind of desperate?
I think for me, it was. I do think that like Robin going out like last round unexpectedly may have played like a factor in sort of like who the alliances were going for. But I think for me, it was just like a testament to how to better build relationships like throughout. I think Ethan said it very well, when it's like, you know, there were different factions like gathering different troops and in different ways. And so then it just became like, okay, we're kind of down to the point where like one army is going down. And so we have this other one over here. So I think for me, like looking back, it's just a thing about great. It's just like, if I want to go with like the social strategy, it's like play social differently so that like you make sure that you're aligned with all these different troops.
I feel like I mean, we saw it a little bit. I don't know if I saw it in the game as much, but I think I've definitely seen it here today. You have a very good grasp of the game, which I feel like is very beneficial moving forward. Are you planning on playing again at any point?
I would love to. I love to come back and like check things out. I also like, just because I see the proverbial like Twitter on there, I just want to take like 1 second, really moment, just express gratitude. Like Sequester to me, when I found it, became this really beautiful thing because at its heart, it's a social game. And I think down to this element, like something we're all craving right now is social interaction. And so when on earth are we going to get to meet this group of people like this and get to connect and bond in this way and like build a community? So to me, I think Audrey's doing something very special that we all need, especially for people whose brains really gravitate towards this stuff. And I really want to thank the folks at Podquester, the folks at like RHAP that are doing things like build further things. I just think it's very beautiful and people really need it during this time.
It's beautifully said. You sent a message to me last night and it warmed my heart so much just in terms of like, you know, the community, because I feel like that's the biggest thing in this. Like the game is so much fun, but also the community is like even more fun. And you know, I've said it before, is like I watch a mini and then I'm like, oh, new friends. Like it's just like bringing people into the group that you know you're going to see on a regular basis moving forward, which is, you know, there's more social interaction than I have in real life. So it's great. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thank you for coming on, Michael. We appreciate it.
Of course. All right, catch y'all at Trader Joe's. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Michael.
All right, so that brought us to round 8, which was the 7-on-7 voting for your own. All right, so this is, I feel like, don't take this the wrong way, because I'm your biggest supporter probably in the entire Sequester community. I'm the #1 doc stan. I didn't feel like
I fight you for that.
That's true. Voted him out, so it's not. It doesn't. No, I win. Like I didn't know if you had a true grasp of the game, but then this is the first round where I was like, oh, well, he knows exactly how to play. Like this is how you're supposed to play the round. Like I thought you were playing it correctly, and everybody just voted you out. So I'm curious as to what everyone was thinking, what you were thinking, and then what everybody else in your room was thinking, turning on you. I don't think we usually it's like 1 or 2 stray votes. In this case, I think like everybody just voted for you.
There were more than 2. I'm almost sure. And there was like another one that didn't even go my way, that went to somebody else because they thought people were, yeah. And his famous last words is like, our room's nice. The other room is going to be backstabbing each other. Our room's nice. I was in a room with people I didn't know before. And the first time I saw the twist, the first time I saw the room twist, there was a room that self-voted and the room that didn't. The room that self-voted actually did it, worked. The room that didn't got all confused and messed up and voted for each other. So that's why I was thinking, well, just vote yourself. Use that kids principle. Keep it simple, stupid. You know, stupid. And this is another thing about having autism. Total blindness. I was like, I kind of knew it wasn't getting over so well. I didn't realize it'd come back on me, but I was like, you know what I mean? I was like, and I was tired of it, and I was really at this point. It's like I know how to play the game theoretically. I mean, that's me. It's like theoretically, I know what to play each round. I had ways to play each of the rounds. I had ways to do the different things, like odd even. Vote for yourself. Doesn't matter what. I'm going to vote for myself to throw any group so they can't organize a group of 4. But now that I've said that here, if I was on odd even, I'll roll a dice to randomly see if I vote for myself or not, just to keep people unable to know whether they're going to be able to vote, get an even on me. So, I mean, that was what I was going to do at the beginning of that round, was vote for myself.
Yeah.
And I did save Rachel that round. She is the one person from my room I was able to actually help, because I kept her out of a 3-way tie, which would have been had I voted for her, had I kept my 4 that I really didn't want to vote for Rachel. And so my thinking was, I got there, I'm thinking, okay, let's do this. And I knew that Ethan and Jake, you guys were familiar to me, so I liked you. And I figured that, I don't know, I trusted Ethan. I really did. I thought that if something bogus was going down, he'd let me know.
Okay, so Doc.
And there was no way I was going to vote Stan out. I mean, you know what I mean? And then the silly die, I'm in this room, and I'm just like, let's just all vote for ourselves. I mean, this is great. I mean, we can do this. We're all nice. We'll just trust each other. And look, if it goes to a tie, then we can start stabbing each other. That'd be fun. Let's just get one round in here where we do this. And then it's just, yeah. I'll tell you about my reaction after. But that was my thought before.
Yeah, I was shocked that Eric actually left that round because I had just formed a final 2 with Josh. I had just thrown Emily's name out to 4 other people. Then 4 of us were in the same room with Emily for that round, so I fully expected her to go.
Did you guys vote for Emily?
I voted for Emily, yeah.
How many people in your room voted for Emily?
I have no idea.
You
did not, Josh.
No, I really
just said Emily.
Wasn't sure what to do that round. I had only seen it in like the first round of that All-Star game where I said in that round like it did not work out for any of them. So I know I should have voted for Emily. Jojo, I think I voted for you that round. Like I was supposed to.
Fair.
JD, you voted for Jojo as well?
Yeah, I wasn't supposed to, but I did.
No, you weren't. I was worried. Honestly, I was just glad that like 5 people turned on someone else in the other room.
How did we know that 5 people voted? Did we know like?
Oh no, I don't know. I said that number randomly.
I also just told Rachel that Emily was coming for her, so I figured Rachel would throw a vote on Emily. And CT was in the room previously, so I felt like Emily was probably going to be the one to go. So when it was Doc, I'm like, oh, okay, well, there we go.
So Doc, that was like the worst round because I really did. I was like, I'm going to work with Doc. I'm his biggest supporter. Anytime his name was out there, I was like, I'm not doing this. This sucks. I was like, I really wanted to work with you. But in my first mini, we had that happen where a guy came in and was like, this is what you do. You vote for the person to the left. And we all were like, cool, he's going to do that. We're all voting for him. And so the minute that you were like, everyone self-vote, I kind of, in my mind, I clued it to like, okay, he's definitely going to vote for himself because he's pushing this. And so we can all just vote Doc. And I had to.
Did I just say, Ethan, I read your face that entire thing. Because for me, when I went to that room, I was one of the last people to get to that room. I haven't saw Stan, Ethan, or Doc the entire night. Like I wasn't in a room with them for a lot. So as soon as Doc's like, oh, we all self-vote. Martha, you were in that room too, right?
It was Martha and Lauren.
Lauren, Doc,
you and me and one more person.
I wasn't with Martha.
I actually did vote for myself because I figured I wasn't.
The person I targeted actually went with me and voted for. Thank you, Martha. Thank you.
I figured that everyone else was going to vote for Doc, so I was like,
no.
I have a bit of. So Lauren's trying to get in, but her connection is terrible. So she's relaying information.
Lauren voted for Doc as well.
Yes, she's relaying information to me. She said she was considering playing an LOF Doc and asking everyone to vote for her. That was her thought process. But then when you did what you did, Doc, it basically just kind of offered you up on a silver platter. So she just voted for you. But yeah, she was considering LOF.
Yeah, I was looking at Lauren and Martha the whole round, and also like I can't say anything, and no one can kind of mouth really what I was thinking. Like
I was just trying to make eye contact with everyone, and then also someone asked me what I thought, and I was like, this is a really good idea. We'll come out with numbers. But I was saying like I was like, no.
As soon as I said that, I was like, oh, Martha's doing something to me. I voted for you.
You voted for me, Nehemiah?
I did.
He's the king of stray votes. You are the king of stray votes.
I was just like,
you robbed me. You single-handedly robbed me from going.
I was reading the thing, and I'm like, okay, I'm in a room with a bunch of people that I don't know, so I'm new too. So I'm not gonna sit here and vote myself. You all haven't seen me, so y'all can easily pile up on me if you wanted to. So I was just like, I'm not voting for Doc because Doc, like, you made yourself an easy target by saying self-vote. But I was like, no, maybe someone's gonna vote for Ethan too. Oh no.
I just think in that round, it's like there's such minimal strategy.
Even did you vote for Doc?
Yeah,
I voted for Doc as well. So you
didn't get 4 votes.
Yeah, I think 4 and maybe one more.
Oh, I voted for me too. So this is another.
So yeah, you, me, Ethan, Lauren, and anyone else. Martha didn't.
I forgot who the other person was in the room with us.
I can't remember. It was a girl. I can't remember which one.
Was it Emily?
That round was such
No, Emily was on the other because Jojo voted for Emily.
Was it Marg?
Marg?
me.
No,
No.
Marg
No,
was in
Marg was
our
in our
room.
room.
Marg was in our
Marg,
room.
they were in my
Weird.
room.
It was like super. I don't even know if I wrote anything.
Was Alex?
Alex.
Was in our room.
Alex was it?
Oh yeah, I was even gonna be like, because I already formed that 3 with Lauren and Martha, and I already was working with you, Ethan, very early on. You approached me, I want final 2, and I'm like, done. And then JD and CT were our 4, and I didn't know that y'all know each other, but I would be more than happy to go deep with you guys and figure out something like. And then Lauren and Martha came along, and I was like, dude, if no one was gonna say anything, if I said Alex, I bet you Lauren and Martha and Ethan and Doc would have voted for Alex because y'all wouldn't have targeted me for targeting Alex. And even if Alex was fighting back, all of you guys would have protected me and would have voted for Alex. And that would be the easy round. But before I could even say anything, Doc was like, I have an idea. Let's vote for each other. I mean, ourselves. And I'm like, Doc, oh my God, bro.
I know. When you said that, I was like,
my target. I love you. Like, your story, like a physics professor, and like I didn't want, but you were making like super questionable decisions. That's why I didn't like approach you. Hey man, you were like rolling the dice. I was working with at the time, and then voting for yourself, and I'm like, oh my God, like he's such an amazing person. So I actually took that time to get to know you a little bit more because I thought you were going home. I was like, dude, what courses do you teach? You're a PhD, like you had a kid, and I'm like, it's unfortunate. But you're definitely someone who, I think is a legend in your own right, and you should play again. And
please play again.
I think
again.
Doc, you left an impact on the Sequester community. I think. What are your overall thoughts? Well, I'm curious because I threw this out last night. How did you find Sequester? I mean, maybe you found it just like everybody else does, but I was just curious how you got into the Sequester community, and do you plan?
There were a couple people that I know because I do the RHAP community and stuff like that. And they were kind of in it, and I thought, okay, so I just kind of checked it out, and then I just like, wow, this is so cool, and people get to do this, and it's fun, and anybody can do it. You could just, $3 a month, what's that? So I was like, okay, and it took me ages to start applying, and it took me ages after that to get on, and I want to thank Audrey very, very much. She actually saw one of my Facebook posts where I was like, oh my God, I really hope I can get in before the school starts, because after that I was going to be so busy. I'm going to be so busy, and it's so hard to teach online. It's so hard to convey anything online.
Absolutely. I told you I taught I don't know if I did tell you.
We were talking. That was one of the things we were talking about.
That's the vote. When you're teaching physics online, I was teaching clinical pediatrics online to medical students. It's so hard. So I just made it funny and just because it's about kids, so it's just teaching. It was an interactive situation
from you guys in the room when trying to get you all to self-vote, as I do for my students when I'm trying to teach them physics.
So being a pediatrician and dealing with a lot of moms who will do whatever the heck they want is the trick here is, and adolescents too, because my patient population's up to 21. You have to convince them that it's the right idea for them to do it, but you just kind of insinuated it. And then oh my God, this is a great idea. When they have buy-in, they will do it. That's the moms and the adolescents. That's the game-winning strategy. I don't know anything. I don't know medicine. I just convince them to do the right thing.
Would I play this game again? Wow. I'm not very good at it. I know I'm terrible at it. And there's one other thing I wanted to say. I was going to say it last night before I left, but I didn't. I forgot to. My son and I have autism. Actually, I have autism, and it's. You can do things. You can be successful in a lot of things. Just social, So my wife thought it was nuts for even trying, because she said and my kid was so upset. My kid was so upset when I told him he voted out, and I'm like, I'm trying to explain to him. I said, no, it's just a game. I had lots of fun. I was totally drained afterward. And I found out that Ethan, you had voted for me. And my first reaction was, Ethan carried me. Ethan can vote for me. That was my first, because I knew you were carrying me. And I thank you. And I thank JD, even though I know you guys were just like, what I knew, I kind of knew it because I knew I was clueless. And I don't know, it's going to be really hard. But if I do get up the gumption, I don't know. I don't think I can play any other way, though. it's always going to be hard.
I think that's okay though. I think that that's needed in this arena. Like I feel like so many people, like 98% of people come in this with such a strategic cutthroat mind. And that's why I liked you so much, Doc. I just found it so refreshing to have someone like you on a cast. Like I feel like you're so different and you stand out from the majority of what we see on Sequester. So I feel like, I don't know. I feel like it's needed. And I feel like a lot of people really, really enjoyed seeing you. So, you know, obviously you're going to be busy with school and stuff, but if you have the opportunity, I think a lot of people would like to see you again.
Yeah. Yes, please play again, Doc. Please, please.
All right, guys. I'm going to go now.
Thank you for coming on, Doc.
Bye, Doc.
Bye.
Meeting you.
You're amazing. You're amazing.
We love Doc. What a pure soul.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
All right, so that brings us to round 9. And this was, so if you vote for the person who gets eliminated, you are nominated the next round. This round ended with a tie between Jojo and Rachel and was the end of Jojo. Jojo, I was surprised because, you know, we've talked a lot and I'm a big fan of yours. I felt like you played a more under the radar game than I'm used to from you a little bit, at least from what I saw. What was your, obviously you just played a few days ago, but what was your thinking going into the game this time around?
I mean, I come in with a plan every time. On Thursday, I played like wanting to be the final girl, being incredibly aggressive from the get-go. I made it to 5th and taken out because I was the clear winner. This time, I couldn't help myself. I really wanted to try and play under the radar, but I don't think I did. I was throwing out names every round. I was trying to play like a hoe, play promiscuous, get intimate with people, have fun, put on a show and try and be lighthearted so people didn't think that I was as aggressive or snaky as I can be. I really like being sneaky in this game, but I also love having fun. So I really wanted to have that arc of, like, at one point I'm like, oh God, I'm gonna have to take out my wedding ring to flirt with these people, to there's so many cute little boys over here, let's do this. I said Ethan, I'm like, okay, JD, Stan, hey, Josh, do this. I came in with a plan, and I think leaving 7 to 6 felt good for me. I feel like I put up a fight at the end.
I hated that round.
Yeah.
Yes.
That tie between Jojo and Rachel was, I think, part of like my downfall too. Rachel did not trust me after that, but it was just because like I was stuck in a bad position. I don't even remember who I voted for before the tie.
Alex.
Check. Yeah, maybe Alex.
Yeah.
Everybody, I don't know everyone, but I know.
I threw my vote on Rachel that round.
I threw my vote on Rachel too.
I voted for Alex. Yeah.
Literally, everybody was like, vote for Alex. And I was going to. And then, Jojo, you were the one. Jojo, you said vote for Alex. And then as soon as I got into a room with Alex like, did you hear my name? And Emily's like, I did. And so I'm like, I did too. And they're like, and they're like, Jojo said it. And so,
and then you came to my room.
And
I was like, I heard. Someone said my name.
And I'm like, and then I came back, and then JoJo's like, so someone said,
oh yes, that's funny.
I'm also a forgiving player. Like I play for the round itself. I mean, to look forward in a certain round where you know you're safe, it's fine. Mm-hmm. But once that was happening, I'm like, I'm playing this round as is. I don't want Nee thinking I'm mad at him, and I wasn't. I'm pretty forgiving for the most part. And even Alex, like, I just was having such technical difficulties with them that they were hard to play with. And at that point, I was thinking, okay, I have, once Robin left, I'm like, I've kind of limited options at this point. I was trying to find Lauren. I was trying to find Martha from the room 1. I wanted to see if we could still cement that. And yeah, I just couldn't find them that round. Or
Jojo, you did a good job of convincing me that you weren't the person to rat Jojo.
All right, Josh was hyping me up. Josh was like,
there were like 5 people in our room when you said that, and then so I was like, well, I believe him. I mean, he's pretty convincing. So I thought that was good.
No, and
At
then
that point, I
that's
didn't
why,
care. I'm like, just get it off me.
and that's
Right,
why
right.
for me, I didn't like that because I think that was the only round I really lied, and I didn't like that, and I felt like JoJo seen through it, so that's
funny.
why I did
It's okay.
I did the stupid me because like I said to someone else last night, I'm a very generous person. So when I seen the LOS and Audrey was like, "It's mine," I'm like, I don't use LOSs on myself in the sense of if it was like a Survivor game, I had an idol. I won't use an idol on myself. I'll use an idol on someone else because that's just me. And so I used it on Alex because I thought that JoJo was going to get the next amount of votes and it would have just took something out that like instead of starting more drama, in the sense of JoJo would have came after me maybe later, but then me and Ethan both threw our votes on Rachel and it tied.
Yeah. I saw that LOS and I was trying to be cute with Audrey and literally write like, I spy an LOS. I'm like, why am I trying to be cute right now? There's no trying to be cute.
I thought I got like 4 LOSs and I just did not get any of them. I was so upset. I saw all of them. I was like,
I saw all of the LOSs.
I saw 2.
Yeah. I don't try with them.
Yeah.
Literally, I was told to just type LOS before anything and then just press enter. I did that, didn't get anything. Then I just did a dot and it was like, you found the secret LOS. I'm like, oh, cool. Dot.
That is an LOS hack. Just send anything. Like I remember the last time I played, I was so frazzled that like I would try to put LOS, but it would come out like KPJ and just like period.
Which is
comma,
fine.
just
You still get
whatever
the
you can
LOS
get in
to
there.
the first person.
I sent a semicolon once, I think, by mistake.
Yeah.
But going back to the LOS play, like I do think it is somewhat like, is it risky to play it on other people when you might need it in the future? Yes, but also does it strengthen your case if you get to the final 2? Absolutely. If you could be like, I used an LOS on this person, I used an LOS on this person, that's an automatic like, okay, well,
I was trying
an amazing player.
I was trying to bond with Alex because me and Alex were like maybe this close to bonding, but we weren't there yet because of the audio issues. So if I saved Alex with the LOS, if I got Alex to a room by herself, I was going to be like, I saved you. But I couldn't because I don't know if it was Marg or Martha that was with me after the next round. I was trying to tell both Alex and the other person I used the LOS on that I saved them. But I was like,
But I think the only thing about that was like, it was just interesting to save it on Alex because I felt like there was like evidently a larger coalition of people coming together and Alex was not in it. Like her name was always kind of out there. And I was like, it's nice that she's being saved, but like numerically, I think like if you're maybe saving like someone else who was in this like larger coalition that was coming together, it would have benefited you because you could have like slid in there. But Alex kind of like never could find her footing because she had technical issues.
Which also you could see that as a smart thing because later it made it very easy to take Alex out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like that's the new pattern now. It used to be if you have internet troubles, you're gone first or second. Now it's like, let's go to the a certain round, which is usually the drag round or like safety chain because the person can't fight for themselves because their audio is messed up. So it's something that we're seeing that's more consistent now.
The strategy is evolving.
Yeah. Jojo, what were your overall thoughts on the mini as compared to, I don't think also nobody really clocked that how successful you had been previously. I don't think now with all of these private minis, I don't think people keep track.
I did not know you had won.
Yeah, I didn't know you had won. I didn't know that.
I think Brett knew, and I'm glad he went first. I think he mentioned that during the beginning of the chat. I'm like, okay, Brett. I don't know how you knew that, but cool. And Robin knew. So as soon as I saw Robin, I definitely wanted to align with her. I had an absolute blast. I mean, playing twice in 48 hours is pretty crazy, and I feel super Sequester hungover, but I'm glad I did it. It was my first time applying for a patron. I was shocked that I even got an email back. I had a blast, for sure. And I hope I come back for the reboot.
Yeah, I was going to say, are we going to see you again soon?
Yeah. I mean, private winners at war would be really fun. It's like crazy 40 player
you're in that
chaos.
Yeah, and yours was it? It wasn't private. It was open, right? So you were on that.
I think it was. I don't know. It was confusing. We were the very first private, and I think it went private, even though it was sent out to Twitch users and to the patron group. So I don't know how that worked, but I just slid into Audrey's DMs and
put in a petition now. Podquester wants JoJo on private winners.
Oh, shucks.
So
Facts.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
Bye, JoJo.
Thanks, guys.
Bye,
Bye,
JoJo.
Bye.
Bye, Jojo.
Bye, Martha.
All right. So that brings us to round 10. We'll see. Lauren is trying so desperately to get in. I believe she's like driving around trying to get reception to get in here, which is we love the determination here. But so at the start of the round, the nominees were Lauren, Nehemiah, Emily, JD, Rachel, CT, and Stan. And this was, like I said before, one of the weirdest rounds I've ever seen. I can't think of maybe once ever 2 successful LOS plays. That does not happen very often. And Stan, I may have jinxed you because we went around right before and said, who's our winner pick? Who do we think's in the best spot? And I said you. I thought you were in a phenomenal position, and then you went home with like 1 vote.
I heard Podquesters pick me as their winner pick before I went home.
Well, so I said it, and I don't know if you had seen it, but the last time you played, I also jinxed you because I commented at the end of round 1. I was like, Stan, really good at building these personal bonds, like very early, but he's really connecting with people. I think he's going to go far. And then you got nominated with Ian and went home immediately. So next time you play, I will not say a word.
Don't.
How did we
keep your mouth shut?
Yeah. How did we? Let's talk a little bit about this round and what we thought, Nehemiah. Your thought process using the LOS and how we got to all of this.
Okay. Oh, is that a question for me?
Yeah, I mean, we can start there and kind of go around.
When the round started, I can't remember, so Ethan has to back me up on it. When the round started, I think it was like maybe 5 people in it, and Ethan or JD, I think you were in there too. Someone was in there. They said, "Whose name do we just want to throw out a name? Like, who do we not know or anything?" And I said, it doesn't matter for me, but I'm just saying because I haven't seen this person a lot. What about Stan? As soon as I said Stan, Ethan's like, no. And everybody else is like, no. And I was like, okay, sorry. No, it's cool. Don't say anything. I was just saying the name. I didn't know. And then that's when I think, so I don't know who did you say, Ethan? I can't remember.
So that round,
Rachel and Lauren.
Marg and I sat in a room and we were like, grr, like we voted Rachel, it was exposed. Rachel doesn't like us anymore. So Marg and I think Martha, the 3 of us were like
in a
room.
I was in there with you and I was like, oh my God.
We were like, we're fucked. We have to vote Rachel. And then Rachel came into a room and was like, oh, what's going on? Do we want a final 4 here? I was like, okay, I have no idea what's happening. And I was like, I just voted for you. And then you came in and you were like, final 4. And I was like, cool, that works for me. So then like I stopped trying to push Rachel. Hi, Marg. But that was definitely like the name I was trying to push that round because I was afraid.
That was for Rachel. I was
pushing Rachel because the other name that I heard was Lauren. And I didn't want Lauren to go. And I didn't have anything with Rachel. So I pushed Rachel and I voted Rachel.
So for me, me and Lauren made a deal like really early in, and so I was going to stay true to it, and I really was. But I just didn't see Lauren throughout the whole time. So now listening, Lauren, you had to deal with a lot of people here, but I haven't seen her. But I seen Rachel, and I was like, you know what? It was the same concept as Alex. Everyone keeps saying Rachel's name. I see Rachel getting taken out very soon. So why not save Rachel? She's going around, she's like being erratic. So I was just like, you know what? Let's save Rachel. I knew that was gonna sacrifice Lauren, but then Lauren brought out another LOS, and I wasn't gonna vote for Lauren because I didn't feel right. So I just voted for Stan because he was the name that was on my head that I mentioned, and Ethan was like, no. So I was like, it's not gonna matter. It's a throwaway vote. I was also educated when training. I guess you can say people said if you can throw your vote. So I was like, cool, throw my vote, Stan. Then it comes back, Stan's voted out, and I tried to like not make a facial reaction. I was so
I think everyone was shocked, including myself. I was like, what?
I didn't see that coming.
I didn't know it was 1 vote either. I got told afterwards that it was 1 vote, and I was like,
Dude,
yeah,
I've
made sure-
literally only gotten like one vote directed to me in 2 games of Sequester and never got my name brought up in 2 games of Sequester, and I'm never made the jury.
That's rough, buddy.
Man, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I mean,
I
it's
should have
it's
kept it
game.
to myself for joy.
I think Sequester is a lot of luck. There's a whole lot of luck more than other games, like more than Survivor and Big Brother and all the ones we're familiar with, because there's just so many twists. I got fucked by a tether twist and I didn't do shit. Like I didn't do anything. In fact, Louie, you were saying I was making good relations, and now like my name was not brought up a single time, and I think the first time it was brought up was you when you're like Stan and Ethan, and then we're like, no, and like, and I'm out. Like it's so crazy because I've definitely gotten the short end of the stick on both times I've played, but it was fun. It's fun as hell. Like, you know, I raised a lot of awareness, and I was being 150,000% genuine when I mentioned early in the first 2 rounds, I think, when I was starting to get to know people, that if there's 1,200 people watching Sequester, and there's one person that was like super anti-mask for whatever stupid reason, and kind of switched their opinion and wore a mask, and that could potentially save another human being's life, then my job's done. I don't give a shit if I won or not. Like I think that was genuinely like what I wanted to do. And I think, Louie, I was watching, to answer your question, you, at the start of the broadcast...
Am I just jaded, Dr. Stan? Am I jaded for thinking that?
No.
Okay.
I watched reviews of them. I answered the question. It's really 50-50. Right? More 60-40, more maybe 75 advocacy. Because I really... The reason I thought I wasn't going to apply to this mini, I got kind of PTSD from Sequester at the 7-Eleven after getting axed super fast. And like I was at getting late night pizza one time, and I mean I'm not a doctor in real. I wear a normal shirt. I have like a buff as a mask to like wear outdoors like this. And like one guy at the pizza shop was saying he was in front of me, and he walked in to pick up his delivery, and he's like, he didn't have a mask on, and the guy was like, well, in Kentucky, the law is if you don't have a mask, can't serve you. He's like, but I got a medical condition. I got asthma, and I can't breathe through the mask. And I like, sorry, sir, this is the law. I can't serve you if you don't have a mask. He's like, well, I just need to pick up my food. He's like, no, I can't. It's Kentucky law, the governor that's saying that you have to wear a mask. I can't serve you. And he's like, but I got asthma. I got a medical condition. Meanwhile, me waiting for my order in the back. You know, I don't really say much. And I'm like, dude, I'm a doctor, a pulmonologist that treats kids with asthma. And the last thing you want is with asthma, severe enough that coronavirus gets into your system, you go to respiratory failure and you die. GG, well played. But I'm not even about to say that. So that was like 3 days ago. I had a online poker tournament with my work. I was like, that got canceled. So 8/8 was free for me. And like, I literally applied Friday night. I was out of work. I was in my office Friday afternoon. I made sure everyone was out. I spun around. I started talking to the camera. I'm like, this is a great idea. And I sent it to Audrey. Within like 20 minutes, she's like, you're in.
Love it.
But
awesome, Stan. You're a true role model.
But strategically, to answer your question, Louie, I didn't want to go home first or second this time. And I know that I'm not going to be taken to the end because I was wearing a mask. I thought that it would be a calculated, decision to use it as an advocacy. But at the same time, I knew people weren't going to target Homeboy with a mask in the first 2 rounds.
No way.
That's all I wanted. I wanted to beat my old placing. Like, if there was another freaking tether twist, people wouldn't tether the guy with a mask on. Like, that's how I got screwed over last time. And I wanted to show people that I can play, that I'm a loyal player, that I stick to my word, and that I want to get a chance to play. And that's why I formed way too many bonds. Like, and so many people, I was just like, people were coming to me wanting to work with me, and I was like, this is great. Like, I was super set, actually, to go deep. When I found out it was double safety, the safety chain, I was like, oh my God, if I was there, I'd be safe like both times from like Lauren Martha, from Ethan CT and JD. And I had Emily like working in my back pocket too, like any of y'all, like, but no.
Stan, Lauren wants to say, she's just messaging me because she's got a tech issue. She wants you to know that she only played her LOS because you said that you'd heard
She
her
told
name.
me last night too, like, because Lauren was one of my only friends, and I looked out for her, and I was like, it was like, the round is over, mute your microphone. So before you mute him, I'm like, it's you, Rachel, and then mute.
Yeah, and she
And
said
she played her LOS because of that reason.
And
then that's what sent me home. Otherwise, she would have gone home with an LOS in her pocket, and then I would have been safe the next round because I'm pretty sure I wasn't gonna get dragged.
That's
so many people.
So unlucky.
It's such a fluke. Like
she just hates that it sent you home. She's happy that she's the only person who played an LOS on themselves in this entire game.
And she was like my friend. I was
Like, what a way to go home.
Right, yeah.
And people were
Very
targeting
memorable.
Lauren, and I thought Lauren would probably get targeted down the line like jury, but not like super early. And I didn't have a connection with Rachel as much as I did with you guys, so I wanted her to vote for whatever. It's honestly, it feels really cool that I got to play Sequester. I have a few friends who like introduced me to Sequester, but never really had much time to play. It was an amazing experience. I had like I was so happy. I got a GIF made out of my thing, and I was like, that's pretty cool. Not a lot of people get a GIF on their first real-time playing.
Yes.
But yeah, like, I mean, thank you guys so much. It was an absolute blast. Hopefully I can play again.
I really hope you do. I can't say enough good things about you, like both as a person and as a gamer. Like, I feel like you're great in both areas. Like, you've shown twice, even though you've been kind of like robbed twice out of really nothing that you've done yourself. You've been in a great position 2 times in the game, and both times just been really unlucky.
Right, and it's the name of the game. I think a lot of people. I don't know if you guys watch Big Brother All Stars when Ian Terry was like, what he needs to get to win this game, and everyone's saying like, oh, like adaptability. He's like locked, and that's 100% of the case. Like, I have a few friends that were watching. And shout out to them. They were like super pissed both times that I got screwed and like phone was blowing up. And I'm like, oh guys, it's okay. They're like, I hope you're not that mad. I'm like, what can I do? What can I do? I met so many great people. Like Ethan and JD, you guys are amazing. I will watch the end. I'm like, yes, my boys went to the end. Like I would have gone like deep with you guys if I had the chance. You guys came to me first.
Come on, Stan. What about me? We were in that starting room together.
See, the problem is so many people approached me, and I didn't know what to do at that time. So I just kept my mouth shut and sat back. Like I didn't know what to do. Like I was like, probably not gonna go home this round. So I'm just gonna keep quiet. And if I really have to jump the gun and protect someone, I would have protected Josh, you, but I didn't have the chance.
I'm totally kidding. That was a total joke.
It was like it was super hard because I was playing I guess a social game. I don't know. That was
your energy was like really great, and I think it was pretty unmatched. And I think that's why so many people wanted to work with you.
Except for homeboy over here that was But I would love to play again, guys. I think maybe a returnee season or another fresh meat. I don't know if I still qualify as fresh meat because I never really got traction, but whatever. We'll figure it out. Watch me and don't jinx me again, Louie.
No, I won't. My lips are sealed.
I'm not your winner pick ever again. Ever again.
Your name after you leave right now. I will never mention you again.
Perfect. Thank you.
Bye, Stan.
Bye.
All right, so that brought us to round 11, the drag round, the last round before the jury, and the hits just kept on coming, because after Dr. Stan left, I was like, well, I think Lauren, I think Nehemiah are in the best spots, and then they both went out together. it seemed like Lauren got traction the previous round, obviously, because she had to use the
Yeah.
LMS. And here it was just kind of a no-brainer. I don't think there was ever really even much of another name discussed. Everybody just said they were going to vote Lauren. It was more so a question of who she would drag. So let's talk a little bit about this. And Nehemiah, were you concerned? Did you think that Lauren would drag you?
Okay, so I'm just trying to remember for who did vote Lauren with me. Was it
So
Ethan?
it was you, Ethan, Marg, and Alex.
Alex, okay, cool. Literally, everyone said Lauren. Everybody said Lauren, and I guess people lie, but everyone said Lauren. And the last room I was in, was Ethan, Marg, and I think another person. They were all like, Lauren. I'm voting for Lauren. Cool, Lauren. Literally, as it said, no speaking. Everyone said Lauren, and so I said, I guess I'm voting Lauren too. If I didn't vote for Lauren, I was going to be exposed for not voting for Lauren. Because I wouldn't have been nominated, So I had to vote for Lauren, but I thought everybody was going to do it. And I was trying to leave to go find Lauren so I can explain to her, because like I said, me and her had a deal. So I was going to explain to her that she's gone and I have to vote for her so I can stay safe. I couldn't find her because I went to the wrong room. I had to stay in there. And then as soon as Audrey said that she was out and she read the names, I was the first name to be read. I knew I was done. Because I knew when she heard the names that mine was going to be a shock, because we made a deal. So when you hear Nehemiah first and then Marg, Ethan, Alex, you're not going to care about the last three. You're going to care about the first one because we had a deal. So I knew I was out from there. And that was my fault. I should have kept the LOS. I forgot that if you have LOS on the drag, you can say safe. I forgot about that. I was told that once, and then that just went out my head. So that was my rookie mistake. That was personally my rookie.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Rachel.
Hey, Rachel.
Hey.
I have some comments from Lauren. I feel like Lauren's correspondent here. But she said that she wanted to have a reason, so she decided to take out someone who voted for her. It couldn't be Alex because it was down to them two, and she didn't want to punish her for rallying the votes. Couldn't be Ethan because she felt like he was playing the best game. Couldn't be Marg because she wanted me to have an ally in the game. And she just felt like you'd misplayed by voting for an ally in the drag round. But she said that she would have dragged Rachel if she had known that she hadn't played the LOS on herself.
Oh, interesting.
I was so scared of getting dragged again because my first game on emo night, I got dragged out at that time. And so I was like, I'm throwing my vote. There's no way. I'm not even going to risk it. I was like, this cannot happen to me again. So
Yeah, being drag's terrible, isn't it, Rachel?
Yeah.
Listen, I'm sorry.
Rachel, I was also dragged in my first private mini at that point. So I actually voted for myself here because I had no clue what to do. And I found out CT also voted for me, which could have been disastrous. But
yeah, that would have been hopeful for me
lucky.
too, because I would have been the only person to drag there. So
yeah,
I just want anyone that wasn't
I
getting
think
votes.
Lauren was going to drag me. So I was like, whatever, I'm going to vote Lauren.
I also think that round was really weird strategically in that, if you voted for the person who didn't get dragged, you were safe. And I knew History Can't Repeat Itself was coming up. So I was like, I don't care. I'm pushing Lauren. Everyone vote Lauren. I got to gamble and hope that she doesn't drag me because I know that, I didn't think I'd gotten any votes up until that point. So I was like, I'm at risk at 9.
That was
so
my biggest mistake.
I was like, push it, just go. And it doesn't really matter at this point.
I ended up in a room with Rachel, Alex, and Lauren. And I was like, oh my God, well, I'm voting for one of these people. And if that person is eliminated, who are they going to see? Who voted for them? Me. So I was like, oh God. I think I voted for Alex that round. But yeah, I actually feel like as a strategy, I could have voted for Lauren because I know that she wouldn't have, even though we're friends outside the game, she wouldn't have dragged me. Then I would have been safe next round. But
yeah, I think that was probably my biggest mistake was not voting Lauren because I don't think she would have dragged me. But I was I was so nervous about being dragged again that I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do my best to push someone else during round or History Can't Repeat. And I didn't do a good job, obviously. But yeah, that was my biggest mistake, I think, for sure.
My biggest mistake was voting Lauren.
We should have switched. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, so here's the thing. We haven't touched on this, but this was a new caveat to the game, and the fact that you get safety if you manage to avoid the drag. So now there really is more reason. Before it was like, just throw your vote. Like the smart move is to throw the vote. But now if you can get immunity by voting for the person who gets out in the next round, it almost makes sense if you don't think you're going to get dragged to take that risk if your name is out there. So it's not necessarily the worst move anymore to vote for that person, but you just have to hope and pray it's not you, really.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It really limited options at History Can't Repeat. I think I could literally vote for either JD or Martha, and that was it. And maybe Emily as well, actually. But other than that, and then I knew I was an option for a lot of people as well. So it really limited things in the first round of the jury.
Yeah, and I actually at the start of this, well, at the end of this round, I was in a room with Rachel alone, and we decided, like, okay, if Josh isn't safe next round, let's go for him. Because I knew that I was going to be in danger at History Can Repeat, so I wanted to make sure I had that head start.
And I pushed you. Rachel, I heard after the fact that you were mad that I voted for you.
Well, so I was originally, and then once you and I spoke about how you and Jojo were close,
yeah,
and I understood that JD and I had already decided because we were in that room alone, and I was like, Josh voted for me, we were in this together, all three with Robin at the beginning.
Yeah, I was good for that.
So same, and so then when I saw that originally, JD and I were just well, let's go Josh. And
yeah, I needed to convince CT and Emily. That was my that's who I needed to go for.
My
Sorry, Maria.
Can't repeat.
My question, Rachel, would be
To team up with you.
My question would be, when you got the LOS played on you, were you going to play it off as that was your move?
No. So Lauren had came. I did not expect, when I heard that there were 2 LOSs, I was like, why would someone play an LOS for me? I don't think that I have that relationship with anybody that they would save me like that. So then I was like, maybe I just didn't get the votes. I thought I was on the block, but so confused. And then Lauren had came to me and said, someone must have played the LOS for you. And I literally was like, no way. And then once I got out of the game, my friend Cam was like, Nehemiah played the LOS for you. And I was absolutely shook and so grateful, but so sad also that was kind of led to your demise at the same time.
Very cool. Because I said earlier when you weren't here, I like to be a generous person. And I love you all, Marg was my favorite of everybody because she was energy. And that's why I like everybody with energy. I love everybody with a nice personality. And Rachel, when you're in rooms, I knew you were just this is what we're doing. Why are you doing this? I heard them it's just a firecracker.
I wanted to work with you so bad, Nehemiah. So I feel if we had gotten into a room together and you had the opportunity to tell me that you did use that LOS, that would.
We were in the room. It was me, you, Alex, and then someone else was in the room with us, and I was trying to wait for that person to leave so I can say, Alex, Rachel, I've used the LOS on you twice, both rounds. But then I was like, I shouldn't say that because they might use it against me. I think Josh, you were in the room, Josh. That's why I didn't say it, because I was like,
yeah, oh yes, I was. Yes,
I was like, if I say it, I feel like someone's gonna go back and say Nehemiah used the LOS on Alex and Rachel. We have to take him out. And
yeah, I probably would have, to be honest.
So, yeah,
So that was good.
And also watching the jury, by the way, this is just y'all are amazing. I'm just saying, y'all played an amazing game, all of y'all, because you all made the jury, right? Yeah, amazing. Mm-hmm. Also, I would have done horrible in the jury, I feel because JD, you said you felt like you were going to be a target at the History Can't Repeat. I think I was too, because I don't think anybody voted for me yet.
Yeah, I didn't want you getting dragged for that reason too. It was another option.
So I don't know how, literally going down the line and seeing who was left, I was like, oh, I probably wouldn't have gone so far, because JD and Ethan had their pair. Marg and Martha had theirs, which I didn't know about either. CT, you were with everybody. I was trying to get with CT. I was like, I want CT. So, but you were with everyone. I was like, oh.
I just think there was a core group. I think it was the people that made the final 6. In my mind, was oh, this is a core group of people that's kind of all working together, and it would just been writing off then
I
the
thought I
next
was
people
in
from
it.
there.
Gosh, I wish you had done it.
Yeah, I thought
You
I
could've-
was JD and I thought we were really close, but then I needed to throw your name out, and I totally threw your name out. So I have no issue with you also throwing my name out, obviously.
Yeah.
I think if I could have convinced CT and Emily to vote for you, and I didn't know you guys were friends, obviously.
Yeah, I
But
would never have voted for
Right.
JD
So
in any round.
I think that if I don't know. I don't know what I could have done, to be honest.
Yeah, I definitely want to get into that round because I feel like the dynamics kind of changed after the drag round and we got to the jury. We'll finish up with Nehemiah. Nehemiah, I take some credit in the fact that I think I can spot future Sequester stars before they become stars. That's one of my very few good traits. And I feel like I said it immediately. I feel like you have potential. If you stick with Sequester, like I feel like you're going to be a household name in the Sequester world if you do, because the spirit that you have and like the energy that you bring, people can't bring on a consistent basis. So I feel like, are you planning on sticking around and playing?
It depends because I need to balance my social life. Cause like literally, I was free. This was my Saturday that I was free. I don't have a lot of Saturdays where I'm free, so it depends. Because I mean, they do it on Friday too, but it truly does depend. But I really wanted to play Sequester because, I've been like today was like last night was a dream because loved BB17, loved Audrey on it. As soon as she was eliminated, she started Sequester. I watched Sequester from its season 1.0 to 11.0. Then I watched the 3 ones in the mansions, which like that was chaotic. I watched those. And then I started watching the minis almost every single one, not every one, but every single one. And I was just like, I want to play. But every time I applied, it was a nope. So I woke up so late yesterday and I seen the email and I was like, oh shit, let me reply before 5 hours are up. And I got it. I met you all. You all loved my energy and I'm like, why? That video was cringy as hell, but cool. And it was fun.
What? It's not cringy at all.
You went for it. I loved it. Mine was so basic, and yours, you put yourself out there. It was awesome.
I was trying to just want to play the game, and I felt like playing 2 LOSs, the whole everything, the stand being voted out by 1, like I guess I made an impact on the night. But it also what people told me was I made an impact in the sense that none of y'all knew that I did any of that. So it was like, oh, cool. I did something, you know. But I hope to play again. I don't know. Maybe I might wait because I need to, I guess, take notes. Watch you guys. Watch Winners at War. I'm gonna watch you, Ethan. Winners at War. Take notes to see what to do, what not to do. Make sure I save an LOS for drag.
It only gets easier the second time around. Trust me.
Yeah.
True. Hopefully. But thank you guys. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Hope to see you guys later. Peace.
Yes.
All right, so that brought us to the first round of the jury. I want to throw a question out there. This is one of the questions that I most wanted to ask coming in here. Did anyone, and I don't know about the people who've left already, did anyone ever vote for Ethan for anything, ever?
I did.
Okay.
I threw my vote on Ethan during the drag round because I knew I didn't want to vote for a man history can repeat.
I wanted to.
I also threw my vote on Ethan for the drag round.
I was nervous about doing that because I didn't want him to go home because people were just throwing away burn votes, and I didn't want to risk either JD or Ethan going home, so I never went for either of them. But
I should have voted for Ethan.
Yeah.
I never did.
I felt like now that we got to the jury, it kind of became the Ethan game, and it was, more apparent how much your name was just never coming up. Like no one ever seemed to consider you as an option to be eliminated. It was very, very impressive. I don't know if I had ever seen that. And we'll get all the way down to Final Four when your name still wasn't mentioned, which is unheard of. But, nobody was ever really considering trying to take you out because you were so well connected with everyone. And I feel like in this round was JD, you were a little bit in trouble here. I feel like the early traction was you, and Ethan, you kind of steered it away as soon as you heard that and put it on to Josh. So let's discuss that a little bit.
Yeah, I know that JD and Rachel had talked about Josh, and I wanted to get Josh. And then I got into a room with, I think, Marg and Martha and Emily and JD. And we said, JD, your name is being thrown around by Josh. You need to go. And he left. And then when we stayed in that room, both, I think, Marg and Martha were like, so we're going to vote JD. And I was like, no one is doing that. We were voting Josh. We do not get rid of JD. This is stupid. Josh is a gamer. And I just started freaking out. And I was like, Josh, he's like clearly shady. He like is playing really hard. Let's vote for Josh. And then
I don't know about you, Mark, but I still voted JD.
Oh, I voted JD too.
Oh, I thought I had gotten it with Josh.
So I think
I was working out, and I think it was 3-4.
That's what I was saying. I felt really good both with Martha and Marg that round. Like I was like, okay, I have 3 on JD here, and I was like very solid with that. And we said like, no matter what other people say, like we're gonna vote JD. And okay, so I guess I should have gone to Rachel and Emily as opposed to CT because I also forgot that you were friends. And I think if the 5 of us were able to sort of clock the fact that you 3 were friends and knew each other and also were just working really well, that was my best play. But when I went into the room at the end, I knew I was toast. When it was the 5 of us, it was like JD, Ethan, Rachel, Emily, and myself, I think, or maybe CT was there instead. And I was like, Martha is the only person I haven't voted for. You guys were like, oh, sure. I was like, all right, I'm screwed here.
Go ahead, go Mark.
I think, Ethan, you pulled Rachel, JD, and I into a room to make a Final Four at one point in the game, and I felt there was something like nagging at me. I was like, I'm not close with JD. Why am I working with JD? I don't have a relationship.
Yeah, we like barely saw each other the entire time.
I was like, why? Like, no, I don't want Josh to go. Like, JD needs to go. And I was just like, why is he trying to like connect me with JD? I saw it. Yeah. I thought it, but I didn't know.
I also think that round, Emily was still in the room that I was in, and the round before she had come up when the drag had happened, come up to me and was like, my name's being thrown around by Lauren, like my name is being thrown around, I'm nervous. And I was like, I'm gonna vote Lauren, I have your back. And I did. And then I was like, hey, Emily, I had your back that round. I got almost like Lauren could have dragged me, she didn't. Please like work in this moment and like vote out Josh. I think he's a better bet than JD. And I think she must have been, because I know CT, you couldn't vote Josh.
Yeah, I couldn't vote for Josh.
Oh, right. You couldn't vote for me, CT.
I couldn't do much that I wanted that round. I had to just kind of deflect from JD, but I couldn't actually vote for you.
Yeah, the first thing I said to Emily in the jury room was like, come on, Emily, you should have stuck with me. And she knew it. She immediately was like, yeah, I should have voted JD there. So I did not want to vote for JD. I wanted to vote for Ethan, but we couldn't vote for Ethan. I wanted you to either be dragged or vote for you because JD, I felt great about our talks, but I just was like, you're the only option I have. So it's like, this was tough.
Yeah.
Originally, I wanted to go for Emily in that round because
I would have done that too.
Yeah, the only 2 people I could vote for were you, Josh, and Emily. And I was like, well, Josh and I, like, we have had history. Some has been good, some is not, but I feel better about him than Emily because Emily and I, like, whatever. And then I forget who came in, but they were like, no, we can't vote for Emily. Let's go for Josh. And I was like, well, okay, JD and I were talking about that anyway. So like, let's go that way. And then Emily came in and was like, wow, why are you saying my name? And I was like, super backtrack, like whatnot. And thankfully Alex had my back on that. Because when I did backtrack, she was in that room. And so then at that point I was like, if I keep pushing Emily, like rather than Josh, my game is going to tank. So
yeah, Alex too. Thanks. Alex also. She was next in the jury room, and I said the same thing. And I was like, "You should have stuck with me."
You knew that when I got to the jury too.
Yeah. No. Oh, yeah. That was funny. That was my my acting chops of the night. No, that I think. I mean, I don't know if Alex was long for the game because of safety chain, anyways, and the internet. But I think I could have maybe convinced her as well. I don't know. It was really fun. I think that round was really crazy and hectic, and it was the first time I've been in jury. So I was like, oh my God, I'm nervous. I haven't heard my name a lot. I feel like I can definitely be booted here. And you guys got me, and it was fun to watch. Honestly, afterwards, you guys played a great game.
Josh, what private mini were you in?
I was in the first RHAP patron one.
Gotcha.
I was dragged by the one and only Dan Alt.
Oh, we love
yes.
Dan Alt.
Yeah, we love Dan Alt.
Friend of the podcast.
Yeah, good friend.
My dad. Yeah. So it was a lot of fun to watch, Josh. I feel like, I mean, do you feel like, A, would you play again? And B, also, I want to touch on before you go your jury vote, who you voted for and why. But
Yeah,
we can
yeah,
start
definitely.
with,
Yeah, I definitely want to play again. I've been applying to some private games as well, so hopefully I can do that, and then maybe another patron one. I have a really free month, and then after that, I'm starting my job. I just graduated college in June, so I'm starting my full-time job. So I have no clue if I'll have as much time, but I hope to. So yeah, I definitely want to play again for sure. In the end, it was a very tough choice. You guys both had incredible arguments, honestly, I thought, and I voted for JD. And the only reason that I voted for JD was because like we had talked more in the game, and I felt like, at least from my perception at that point, he got me out. And I don't know the reality of that because I have to go back and see. But I also was like, we were working really well. I went for JD. JD then went for me, and he was successful in that. And then at the final 4, I just felt like you deflecting the target onto Rachel right away was the best thing you could have done. Rachel had my vote, just to be honest. I thought just because of what I saw. Ethan, I think I saw a lot more after the fact and realized how many more connections you were making than I was privy to. And so I think taking out Rachel was a really big move. And so I just was like, it's so tough. I don't know what to do, but I voted for JD. Yeah.
And I appreciate it.
It was a great game. Honestly, I'm so happy to have all of you guys as new friends and Ethan to represent us and Winners at War 2. It's going to be awesome. I'm really excited. Yeah, I hope you go far. It'll be great.
Thanks for coming on, Josh. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Bye,
Talk to you all later. Bye.
Okay, so that brought us to the Charlie Reinhardt Jones creation, the double safety chain, which has definitely a fun twist on this. I love to see it. Safety chain is dramatic, dramatic enough alone, let alone a second one on the way back. I feel like the big story here was Marg and Martha. Marg, we love loyalty. We love loyalty here on Podquester, and the loyalty there was very strong. So let's discuss a little bit there.
Yeah, I definitely I feel like me and Marg our sort of alliance was quite a late sort of charge.
I did
right?
not feel good about you in the beginning of the game.
Yeah, no, I don't think I think the first time we were ever in a room together, you were talking about pinball machines.
And you were like, we need to strategize.
Can we talk about the game, please? Who are you waiting for? But then I think basically definitely jury onwards, I was like, Marg is great, Marg has my back, I have Marg's back. Yeah, I so desperately I wanted you to survive that final 5 vote, but
yeah. I think
so. Ethan, why was I pushing Rachel?
I think Marg, I'm gonna be honest. I gave you, so JD had given it to me. I was giving it to CT, obviously, but I wanted CT to give it to you the first round because I wanted you to be safe. With everyone else, I was like, I really want Marg to be safe. And then you got it initially with Rachel. I was like, she has to return the favor. The minute you went right back to Martha, I was like, oh, I'm not your number 1 anymore. I'm not playing with Marg anymore.
The second round, I don't even know what I did.
I think it could have gone out there if you didn't give it to Martha when you did, Marg. Because I really thought, because Emily went out on the second time around, right?
Mm-hmm. And it was Alex and then Emily, yeah.
And then the final sort of group before that was myself, Ethan, and CT. And Emily. And I knew with no matter what, that little triangle of myself, Ethan, and CT, I would be safe. But if, say, Marg gave it to Ethan and then Ethan gave it to Martha, I wouldn't have known if I would have been as safe as I was in reality.
Wait, I gave it to CT in the second one, right?
I don't think so, because I
gave it to CT.
That's
you gave it to Martha.
Okay. Yeah.
You gave it to me both times, and I loved it, but also I felt okay. Well, that's a nail in one of ours coffins. That's great for this round, but I think that might have just killed us off for another round.
Yeah.
And then it came down. We'll talk about it in the next round, but.
I was concerned about Ethan, JD, and I, because the whole game I didn't really see either of them, so it kind of worked out because I knew them already, and I knew I had their back and everything, but I wasn't working with them, so I didn't think anyone would actually see that we knew each other. And then I thought it wasn't just one safety chain; it was 2. I thought maybe that would be the opportunity for people to realize that was happening. And luckily, it didn't really matter there. But
yeah, I think that's what was like. It was kind of commented on in the fact that it was still kind of under wraps, even though you three were so close. It never really came out. Nobody suspected it. And I don't know if anybody really suspected, you know, the Marg and Martha bond either until that safety chain. And then it was like, you know, it's kind of not looking good.
Yeah. I was in a shitty position as well in the first safety round because I had to like basically decide who's being sent home. I was like, well, whoever I sent home, they're not giving me safety chain first. But I had first voted for Alex in round 2. I had voted for her several more times, so I was like, "Well, Alex, I'm sorry, time to go."
Yeah.
But it was hard because when you are literally the one who is deciding who goes home. Well, not home. No one's going home.
I know.
I kept saying when people went home, but
we all did. So after the Alex and Emily eliminations, it brought us to the bounty round, which was the end of CT. And I always say, like, I feel like bounties a lot of times, the immediate thing, my technique is always to be like, this person's my bounty, but I'm not going for you. But in this, it really came down to 2 people fighting, or in your case, JD, fighting to get your bounty out. Whereas Rachel, you weren't really, like, you considered it, but you weren't as firm, because I feel like there was a shot here to remove your bounty and get the safety for yourself, but you were kind of iffy on doing that. So what was your thinking going into that as to why you wouldn't want to vote for your bounty, or why you thought it might be better not to?
Yeah, so I when Audrey messaged me that it was Marg, I was definitely 50-50 because I did just give her safety and during the safety. Oh, I'm so sorry, them. And so I was like, I feel good about this. Like, I don't think they are someone that is gonna kind of, like, that's gonna be at the top of their mind almost because it just happened. But I didn't really want to go to a wheel at that moment. So then when it came to the tie, I was just switched it over, and I thought that maybe I could fight through it for the next round. And if JD got safety, I felt good about that too, because I felt good about our relationship, you know, how that worked out. But yeah.
I feel like JD, you ran that vote for the most part in terms of, especially after the tie, you kind of called the shots as to what was going on.
I was so shocked because I was like, JD, if we can get CT through one more round, we have like a numerical advantage. And you were like, no, I'm voting out CT. And I was like, well, I don't really want to go to a wheel. And at this point, like, once it got to the final 6, I was like, all of you think I'm working with you. I don't care. Do whatever you want. Like, I don't care. And so when JD was like, I'm so firm on this, I was like, okay, if he's gonna do that, I don't want to go to a wheel, and like, I still trust that like other people have my back.
I wasn't that confident about my odds going to final 5 because clearly I lost the challenge, and I felt like if I was someone vulnerable at 5, I would have gotten taken out at 5. So I was much more confident or much more comfortable with taking out CT when I did because he was my bounty.
Yeah. Also, like, clearly Ethan was no longer with me in this round, so why did I stick with him? Like, what was I doing?
I don't know.
You should have asked Ethan.
You were my bounty.
I don't even know what I was thinking at that point.
CT, I will say, I really did want to go to final 2. I felt like that was, hopefully it was going to be my best option. I was like, if I can get to the end with JD and Martha and CT, like, that was my final 4, like, end goal. It was like, okay, that works because no one is going for me. All 4 of them, or 3 of them think I'm with them.
Right. And, I figured if I could somehow get to like 4, and I mean, it wasn't too far away, but if we could make it to 4, then, or actually, no, even 5, we'd have the 3-2, barring immunity from the whatever challenge there. And then we would have a 3-1. And then I figured from there, I would just have to try and make a lot of big moves because I knew JD was a big threat and Ethan just having already played. And it's so weird as a first-time player going into this because I've seen plenty of Sequester minis where Podquester is watching it and saying like it's really slow or these players aren't really doing anything. So that was always in the back of my head the whole game, but I was also trying not to make any crazy moves like what Jordan was saying at the beginning, just playing an LOS for someone really early. I didn't want to make anything that was super crazy, but I also didn't want to be boring. So by the time it was at 6 and Rachel said that I didn't have a shot. I actually was like, I don't know. I mean, maybe I think it took a little bit of wind out of my sails because I just was like, maybe I haven't been playing well. And, but you know, it was super fun to play, and I have been getting some people have been saying I've played really well, so it was a lot of fun to do. And it's weird to be in that game, in that bubble, and not really know how you're actually playing. Like you're thinking you're doing one thing, but maybe everyone else is like, no, it's actually Ethan who's playing the best game, or someone else.
I do want to say CT. I think it was at that point that I said, I was like, CT's not going to win this game, but it was really just because I wanted Marg out, because I wanted to be safe. So
yeah,
that was the angle that I took. So, I mean, you did play a great game. And
I thought you were telling me that when the votes were all going my way. So I thought you were like, we want like the big threats in this. I don't know. It was all a blur at that point.
It is, yeah.
It's also like, honestly, the whole game, there was that weird evens tiebreaker where I could have gone home really easily. But a lot of it, I wasn't really the center of the attention. So when it came to that final 6 and I really had to fight for my life, it was a new position, and it was hard to do that. I really probably should have started looking at other people to target maybe. I mean, Rachel was my bounty, so maybe I should have gone after her, but it was just hard because I knew I thought I had JD and Ethan, but I wasn't sure about the other 3 who was going to be the most loyal. So if I threw out someone else's name, would that mean that I would lose any chance of them voting for me? And yeah, I mean, we were so close getting that 3-on-3, but unfortunately, when the wheel came up, I figured that it wouldn't be worth keeping me for Ethan and JD just to have a wheel that could just get rid of them. Especially JD with the wheel problems in the other 2 games.
Do you think that next time, if there is a next time, I assume there'll be a next time that you play again, will you switch up the strategy or?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think there's just little things that I would want to do differently. I mean, for one thing, I did have a nice little safety net going into this game, knowing some people. I guess if I were to play again, then that would probably be the same way since everyone just knows people. So, but I think like just, if I am in danger, just being able to just think a little bit more and not freak out so much. Because at a certain point, I was just like, I guess I'm just going to lose here. But I wanted to keep trying. And I think if you can think a little bit more rationally when all the odds are against you, I think that's something I would want to improve on. But yeah, I mean, I came into this game like the night before. I was so nervous about it. And as soon as we started playing, it was just super fun. So I'm so down to play again. And it was fun to meet all these people. And yeah, I can't wait to do it again.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks, CT.
Bye, CT.
Bye, CT.
All right. So that brought us to the final 5. JD was safe from the bounty. And after an immunity challenge, trivia challenge. Martha, did you have a stopwatch? That was ridiculously close. That was so impressive.
29 seconds off. I was like,
crazy.
Oh my god! I couldn't even contain my like I was supposed to like humble, but I was like, oh my god, 29 seconds.
That's very good. That's very good. I feel like people are going to start clocking this now, though. I feel like because it's happened on a few, like I'm definitely, if I play, I'm going to write down what
It was literally just, it was just a number that I felt good with, and I felt like it was either if Marg won immunity, I was going home, and if I won immunity, so Marg went, which is what I did feel bad about, but.
Yeah, it seemed like this round was kind of short. There wasn't a lot of fight. It was kind of just agreed upon that it was Marg. Marg, do you think that there? I was gonna say, do you think that there was anything you could have done there, or it wasn't worth fighting for because it was gonna be kind of?
I just think I was like overwhelmed with like Ethan being like, Marg will win. You have to take Marg out. And I should have. I don't know why I pushed Rachel or said I was gonna vote Rachel when. Like Ethan was playing the best. I don't know. Maybe it's my first time ever playing. So, I mean, I just didn't know. I'd know better next time, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, 5th place on a first time
you did awesome.
Is not half bad.
Awesome.
That is really good.
Yeah, so.
I think maybe like if we could have, maybe we could have done something, try and sway
someone, but
I
had just known about that 7-16, Alliance?
I had no idea.
I'm watching it right now. I know all of you people. You're all. I'm targeting everyone from 716 first. Every mini I play ever in my life. I don't care.
You heard it here first.
Over it.
716, you're in trouble. Watch
I'm
out.
out for you people.
Marg, I think if you did end up trying to push Ethan like super hard there, I would have definitely kind of jumped on board for that.
Because we had the numbers.
Yeah, right.
I just didn't see it. He misted me.
I wanted to remain like amenable for like final four. I didn't want anyone to be mad at me going into like the final four. Like, so I was like, yeah, I'll vote Marg. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
I was fine with it.
But that's why I
had a
did.
great time.
One, Marg, you played amazing, and I really was loyal to you until that whole safety chain thing happened. But I think I tried to like not really say anything because I was like, I'm gonna vote Marg, but if they think that I'm like pushing it hard, they might push back against me. So I was like, if I just be like, oh, I'm going with the masses, I'm sorry, this sucks. Yeah. Maybe they'll push someone else like Rachel, and it worked.
Marg, are you planning on playing again at any point?
Yeah, I probably will. I don't know. I had fun.
You should.
I've been like a long time Sequester lurker. I've been watching since season 2 live. So this was great. I'm just glad I put myself out there. I had a great time.
I think you have a superpower of making people feel comfortable.
Yes.
So
yeah, I was bullshitting you when I said I liked you, and then you used that as the reason for safety chain. So
well, there you go. Like
I was like, Rachel probably is out for me, so I'm gonna say I like her.
I wasn't, but
you have such a good like intuitive sense of people that I think if you keep playing, you could keep making jury phase, and it's just like getting that end game more solid. But you are so good with reading people and like getting people to want to work with you that I think every time you play, you'll get deep into the game because you have that ability.
Yeah, the strategy side is like the harder part for me.
Yeah, but you really socially were amazing.
Well, I had a lot of fun playing with everyone, so thank you.
It was fun playing with you.
I voted for
quickly,
Ethan.
Yeah, I was gonna say quickly. Yeah, well, tell us a little bit about your jury vote.
I mean, I just feel like Ethan had alliances with everyone, and he had an alliance with me. And even after I double-crossed him, and he was probably done with me, I still wanted to go to the end with him. Like, what? How can I not vote for that?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on, Marg.
Thank you for having me. This is great.
See you, Marg.
See you all around.
Bye. Bye. Okay, final four. Hello. Let's talk about Rachel's game a little bit because we haven't touched on it too much. Rachel, I was happy to see you. I feel like I have like pretty much like an encyclopedia knowledge of everyone that I watch, but people I play with, I have no idea who they are. Like in the game, I'm like, I don't realize that I'm playing with them and watching them again until like, oh yeah, we did play together. And I remember how much trouble I had playing with you and how we were kind of like head to head for so long, and we both kept trying to get each other out. And then when I realized, I was like, oh, I was so glad to see you back, and also so glad that you did so well. I feel like you played a really, really strong game, and it was kind of similar because you were in emo night. I couldn't get you out, and I voted nobody could get you out in this game either. So
I know. Like,
yeah.
Go ahead.
I tried so hard. I voted for you so many times that I felt. Yeah, and that's why, like, I'm sure we'll talk about the dragging, but like I was like, yeah, well, you know what, karmically, like I did vote for you quite a few times, so
yeah, right.
Yeah,
I don't know why, like my name, emo night. You're right, Louie. It kind of was. It went the same path. My name was just out since I think it was round 3, and then I was really shocked. I was really nervous a few rounds. I owe a lot to Nehemiah because obviously I wouldn't be here without that play. So yeah, but I knew after emo night, I was a little more, during emo night, it was kind of quiet, like wasn't really throwing a ton of names out. I was letting other people say some stuff first. And then coming into this game, I just knew I was like, if you're going to play, like be loud, get some shit done, do it. What you got to do. So that's really what I came in thinking.
I have to also give you mad props, Rachel, because I think the round where it was split between you and Jojo, I voted you clearly. That's why I was safe the next round. And like me, Martha, and Marg were like, she's coming for us. Like we have just been exposed. And then I was in the room with JD and Marg, and you came in, and we're like just instantly talking game like normally, and then like we're like, we should work together, this is great. And I was like, cool, yes, this Final Four, I really like this. And I didn't know if you were like snowing me or not, and I was like kind of like gonna hold it like afar, but also the fact that you didn't go around being like, those people voted for me, I'm getting revenge, but you just really were like, it's dead in the water, let's move on to this next move, was phenomenal. And I think then like I felt really safe with you for most of the jury, which I don't know necessarily if I should have, because I had done that. But I was like, oh, she's actually like really doing that. So I give you mad props for like really playing that off unbelievably.
Thanks. I appreciate that. I think that came from like you and I didn't really have a strong connection. So the fact that you had voted for me for that, it was like, well, I mean, we weren't working together. We didn't talk a super ton. Like we talked a little bit, but so it wasn't like the same situation with Josh voting for me when I was like, Josh and I had a lot of conversations. So that was kind of like a different scenario. And I think like even early on in the game with like Alex, when she said my name and I was like, prove to me right now, if you can vote for Lauren right here, I'll forgive you, we can move forward together. And I think that's what happened. And then she had my back later on. And I gave the same opportunity to Emily. And I think that for me is just kind of the way to go. And like, if you're wronged, make that person prove to you that it's not gonna happen again. And then that's a way to build connections.
Absolutely. Yeah, and the biggest thing that was in my mind during that round is, I mean, I do think the best strategy was to threaten to drag Ethan. Like, I was amazed astonished that your name didn't come out at all for a vote or a drag. But like, I think for you, Rachel, that had to be the move to try to tie the vote. I don't know if there was any way around that really.
My only fear with that, Rachel, was like, because it happened on my first mini where it was 2 and 2, and I mean, JD went to a wheel and lost the wheel at 4. So the minute, like, even if you'd threatened me and be like, I will drag you, but vote with me and cause a tie, the vote wasn't coming on me. So I would have had to go to a wheel. And I feel like I could have used my words to get out of a drag. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm not willing to, like, I would rather fight my way out of a drag than go to a wheel.
Right. The reason, Ethan, that I wasn't coming for you when it was the question of who to drag was because you kept your mouth shut, simply. Because Martha was really, once JD said, let's get out Rachel, and then Martha really hopped on that bus. So I think I'm a big proponent for like Final Four. I don't really like people that just kind of like sit there and like don't really talk. Not saying that that's what you did, but in that moment for me, that was the right move for you to do.
That was totally my strategy. I knew the minute the round started I was voting for you, but I just played it off like, ooh, what do I do? And that was like absolutely my strategy, because if I could like draw some sympathy where I was like, I feel really conflicted, I was like, maybe she won't gun for me if I can potentially play really conflicted. So that was, I knew the minute it started I was voting for you.
It worked, so props to that.
Thank you.
And then tell us a little bit about your decision on the drag that you did make.
Yeah, so I knew that I couldn't drag JD. Like, I thought that JD was going to win this game because, as I said earlier, I wasn't really super aligned with Ethan. I wasn't talking to him a whole bunch pre-jury, so I didn't know what his moves were. I didn't know what was going on with him. And I had been with JD, so I knew what he was doing. And I hate when I'm watching this game and people drag the people that should win. And in my mind, JD was going to win. So and then I knew that I wasn't going to drag Ethan because Ethan fooled me in that aspect of keeping his mouth shut and, I'm so conflicted. And then Martha was really the only option. And I think you were a big threat too, Martha. And because the game that Ethan played that wasn't in my eyes, I did think that JD had a better chance of winning against Ethan, but clearly our paths did not cross enough, Ethan, for me to see what you were really doing. So yeah. Sorry, Martha.
No, I felt like if any one of you three got eliminated, I felt like I was the one who's going to be dragged. So I felt, well, I'm kind of in a lose situation here. I'm just gonna obviously it was the wrong strategy. I should have been all like, oh well, I don't know, I should have done that. But you can't have two people doing that in the same.
Right, and it's hard too because like that strategy is going to work for me, but like maybe not somebody else, and somebody else is going to.
We hadn't like connected in the game that much, so I thought it's perfectly justifiable though justifiable that she dragged me. I felt like I played the worst game out of everyone, so I was like, yeah.
No, actually,
You played great.
Well, that was the other thing. First of all, you played a great game, so don't just count yourself for that. But the other thing was, like, I had aligned with Ethan a little bit, as we were talking about earlier. And obviously, we know the history of JD, so you were the one person that I wasn't kind of in cahoots with, and that was just another reason on top of the pile.
I mean, I think overall, this was a very strong Final Four. Like, I feel like there's usually a weak link of some sort, but I think all around, like, any of the four of you could have had a shot to win in a certain situation, which is always good to see. Martha, I want to comment on you. My, what would we say, petition, my group that I want to be your best friend. It's still out there. If you're willing to accept, I would like to be your best friend.
100%.
Okay, we're in. Perfect. Get ready for many fun adventures and hijinks that Louie and Martha are going to get up to together. I'm very excited. Paddington 2, a superior movie to Paddington 1. Paddington 2 is the only movie that will make me cry every single time I watch it.
Oh my
every
God,
time.
when the doorbell rings at the end.
You in the doorbell? I can't control myself. I was, okay, so nobody cares. We're just ranting about Paddington now, but I was on a date with a girl. It was probably like a third or fourth date, and we were watching, we watched Paddington 2, and I started sobbing uncontrollably at the end. And she never wanted to see me again. It was very sad. I was like, how are you not touched by this? Clearly, you have no heart or soul if you're not crying at the end of Paddington 2. No spoilers. Great film. But yeah, anyway, so that brought us to the final two. JD versus
I just want to say, I've never played Sequester before. I think I've watched 2 Sequesters in whole, totally. Like, I thought I was going to go out very early, and I was pretty pleased with third. So, yeah.
Martha, you're from so I know you knew Lauren through, what was it? What community? It was, it's not our app, is it?
PG Law's Patreon group.
Gotcha.
Oh.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm always interested how people get into Sequester and like what community they come from before, because obviously there's a lot of RHAP, there's a lot of orgers and things of how people get into it. So going into the final two for you two, JD and Ethan, what did you think your odds were? Because I felt like it was very even, like it could have went either way.
Yeah, as soon as things started, I was expecting a 4-3 either way. I just didn't know where to land.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna lose 4-3, but I also felt like I could talk potentially my way out of it. But I felt going in before speaking, I was gonna lose 4-3.
Yeah, it's funny because one of the reasons I went to the wheel during the Fresh Meat Mini during 716 was because I felt like Ethan was the best talker, and I didn't want to go up against Ethan. So to kind of have that full circle moment of, oh, I should have been scared of Ethan in the final two, it was kind of interesting.
For Rachel and Martha, what was your thinking on your jury vote?
So I was pretty, I mean, like, I think you can tell by what I've said so far, I was pretty leaning towards JD, but like what you just said, JD, about Ethan being a great talker, like, you probably gave one of the best jury performances I had ever seen. You were just like, your answers were perfect, and you were really saying what you needed to say to sway my mind. I can't speak for anybody else, but I had like a gut feeling that I couldn't vote for anyone other than JD, and I, like, maybe that was a character flaw or not, but you're like, well, I think I asked you, say what you need to say to sway me, and at that moment I was like, I might be swayed, like this, I call me a swing because things are happening, but I have had JD's name typed in the Skype without sending it yet, and I think that it was just, it was just, we had worked together for so long, and I didn't want to go back on that, even though JD wronged me so deeply. But
yeah, so I went into the jury, like, final thing. I was like, I think I'm gonna vote for one person. I think I'm gonna vote for JD. But then Ethan, I felt like you were giving such good answers that I ended up switching to Ethan. But it was like literally like flip a coin, because I felt like so good. So both of these two were just so good. If I could have like split my vote in half, and like giving half a vote to JD and half a vote to Ethan.
Where's Doc roll of dice?
And also, I'm still owed the tattoo, Ethan.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So I will show you, but here's the thing. I was like never into animation or like these things as a kid. So the two bear names I knew was Winnie the Pooh and Berenstain Bears. And JD said Winnie the Pooh, and I was like, shit, I have to say something else. This is the only thing. I do have a bear tattoo, but it has nothing to do with Berenstain Bears. It's just a bear tattoo. But it's on my, we're getting a little frisky here, but.
That's still a bear, but not. So I was wondering, I was like, what's to stop it, especially like me, who's like covered, like, what's to stop anyone from saying that they have a tattoo of anything? If it's right, like we were talking about that last night. We could have the person doing the jury vote, their name tattooed on you. Like it doesn't. You could say anything.
I felt like I could back it up, and the thing is, I needed physical proof. The story could be literally anything. And so once I was like, I literally have physical proof of a bear. I can just lie and say that's to deal with Berenstain Bears, and that'll do something.
It was very specific. I was like, why does he have a Berenstain Bear tattoo? Like there's a story associated to that I really need to know, but it wasn't a Berenstain Bear.
Well, one of you should have said Paddington, and then it would have been an instant block.
It was so obvious. So obvious. I probably would have went Fozzie, if we're being honest. Fozzie Bear.
Fozzie's a good one.
Fozzie Bear. We love Fozzie.
He's on the good bear list.
He's high chart, top tier bear. I think it goes to show, I mean, how strong you two were, like how close it was. Like you both played incredible games, and it's not like the fact that you both played such a top tier game and that it was like basically a coin flip who won is very impressive. I think the other thing that needs to be noted is 716 is now possibly, I mean, I think statistically the best mini of all time, but definitely in terms of skill and talent in the Sequester world, up there is one of the best. The fact of what has happened, that we've had one winner win twice in a row, which has never been done. Ethan come in second and first. JD come in third and second, right? Is that right? Fourth and
12th and second. But we ignore the middle.
We'll forget the 12. Yeah, like those stats are numbers that are going to be hard to ever beat for any mini, especially a fresh meat mini, which is even crazier. So very, very impressive. I want to get last thoughts from both of you. JD, what was your thoughts on the game and coming back and doing so well again?
I mean, I kind of wanted to play a game worthy of getting voted out because, like, I just, like, the wheel, especially after the second time, played, like, such a heavy role into my psyche and, like, how I approached the game. I just wanted to make sure that no matter what I was doing, I was, avoiding a wheel, but making sure that I was able to sit there at the end and say, okay, I didn't get wheeled out, but here's how I didn't get wheeled out. And here's why I played, like, such a out there game. And yeah, I'm really proud of what I did because I didn't think I had it in me to do it. And yeah, no words. I mean, I'm still like processing as I'm talking. So I had a really fun
proud. Making Brooklyn proud. Very happy. Brooklyn's proud. And then Ethan, we'll finish up with you. I mean, I've said it before. I think it's one of the best Sequester games I've seen played from front to back. I think it's very, very impressive to not have your name out there at all and build the bonds that you did build. What were your thoughts on this mini? And also I want to get your thoughts going into Winners at War. And obviously we'll talk more in depth on this as the week progresses, but kind of being thrown into the deep end of the pool 1 week from when it happens.
Well, first I just want to say, like, JD, getting to the end with you was like, just made this like an absolute perfect mini for me. It was a dream. So like, I still think you are an unbelievable player, and like, yeah, that's why I wanted to go to them with you. If it wasn't me, I wanted it to be you. Going into this mini, like, I think I had a lot of, which I said a lot, like I had a lot of baggage. I mean, I had lost by one vote and I was like, yeah, why? And then also like, no one had really seen that mini. So I was like, oh, this like hurts my soul. Like I don't like fault the person I lost to, but I wanted my own, like, to prove that I could do this. And coming back and watching like the way that it unfolded, and like, yeah, I mean, like never having my name in people's mouths, like even at Final Four when Rachel was like, okay, I'm not dealing with you, Ethan, it's between these two. I was like, what is happening? But I think that goes to show that like the way my mind works is I'm not as clued into the strategic game, but the social game of just like being able to like, there's little, I've had this as like a job for the last 2 years where it's, I was an outdoor guide, and so I had to just like really get to know my students or my clients really well in like high stress environments very, very quickly. And doing little things of like changing your voice or like getting close to the camera or like waving a lot. Like anytime someone come into a room, I'd be like, hi, how are you? Instead of just like, what's happening? I really wanted to make those connections. And then people were like, I feel good with you. And it carried me through the game. And I'm just really proud of how I played. And I think like I was watching a little bit of Podquester this morning, and you all said really nice things about me, which like means a lot. And yeah, I'm honored to represent this mini, and just really proud of the game I played. And thinking about Winners at War, I am like, yeah, as you said, I'm being thrown into the deep end. There is like, I'm still exhausted, and now it's like, great, you get to play on Friday or Saturday or whenever it's coming. And I'm like, well, this is going to be soon and stressful, but just even getting the opportunity to play with like all of these amazing people that are about to be at Winners at War, like I am super excited, and I'm super excited to represent this mini, and I hope I can do it justice. At this point, like I've won. This Winners at War is like the cherry on top of the cake, and I'm just going to try and be my old self, and we'll see what happens.
We're very, very excited to see how you do. Thank you all for coming on. Follow all of these Twitters: Rachel, Martha, JD, Ethan. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to our moderators as always. Thank you to Will from America for the theme song. We are going to be going live here in a couple hours, like an hour, for the second Undercover mini. So that should be a lot of fun. We'll see who's in that lineup. Still betting on Russell Hantz. We'll see if that happens. I don't know. I'm not going to put money on it, but he's always in the chat, and I don't know why. So yeah, definitely tune into that. It will be a lot of fun. Yeah, and we have a lot of stuff coming up this week. We got Hunger Games. We got 5-8 versus 6-19. There's a lot to be looking forward to. So until then, thank you all for joining us, and we will see you out there. Bye, everybody.
Bye.